rearranged our schedules for more again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Tonight's going to be a good show, as it always is. And as we always ask of you guys, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live, because, you know, schedules have been changing lately. So definitely hit that notification button so you know when we're going live, you know when we're here and having the great conversations, the real conversations with you guys. Tonight's going to be a good show. Hurt Men Hurt the Dating Pool. What women may not know about men. So we're going to dive into it. But before we do, I want to say hello to the men on the panel. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well, doing well.
Very good, very good. How you doing over there?
What's up, everybody? How you doing? What's up, Chuck?
Good, doing good. Light's kind of bright. I don't know if my eyes are so low or whatever, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it.
You know the wife school coming up here. I see already in the chat.
I'm gonna drop the link. This is not all men's panel, although we do see things from the men's perspective. I bring things to the men's panel to get you guys' perspective. Sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't. But hey, that makes us human, right? At the very least, we try to gain understanding and different perspectives. And so we can use these things and, you know, at the end of the day, change someone's perspective or help their perspective. Maybe they did not discuss. Maybe they have not had a conversation surrounding some of the topics that we talk about. So it's always good to get these perspectives out there because, I mean, 9 times out of 10, everybody's going through the same thing, just in a different, you know, maybe arena or different characters or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we all live, love, laugh. Okay, so we just going to keep it going over here. So I appreciate you guys for being here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sarika Smith is in the chat. She says, please show your support through the Cash App. Yes, if you find it in your heart to give to the platform, I greatly appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. J Dub, formerly known as Jay Woodland, says, Champ Talk Reactions, BGF Sports World 718. Second take at Tarika. He's showing some love. Okay, he's showing some love. Fish in the Fit says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. Thank you so much for being here, sir. The Wife School Podcast says, I'm bombarding the chat. All right, girl, I'm going to drop the link. You can come up on the chat and, you know, say what you got to say. But we love you in the chat just as well. Thank you. Thank you for keeping it live over there, okay? Darnell's in the chat. Hello to all. Hello to you as well. Marriage, Politics, and Sports is also in the chat. Giving love. Good evening, all. That's our pain for you guys who don't know. Champ Talks Reaction. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the vibe. He's also giving some love in the chat. Thank you, Frank. Yanis, thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone. More love is given. More love is given. More love is given. Joe Mama says, good evening, fam. Be blessed. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. If you have not already hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Let the algorithm know that we're having this conversation over here. Catalia. Hi, precious. Hi, love. All right. So we're going to get started. Okay. I have a few videos here. I came across these videos and they're just literally for conversation, again, perspective and understanding. So we're going to get into it. We do have Ian Matthew Bolden. Is that a relation? Yo, how's everyone doing? What we talking about today?
Yeah.
Family. Yeah.
My young brother.
La familia. All right. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to get into this first video. And this is a scenario that happens a lot and I don't think it's talked about enough, but we're going to get into it and then speak about it afterwards.
Hey, you know, I really, really like you, but I just need to work on myself. You know, I need to do some deep dive and deep digging.
He probably he probably want to be with you. He probably gonna try his hardest to wait on you. And if he do need a fix, he gonna call you. And you're going to be confused because he's still going to probably be on this solo journey and y'all going to do what y'all do.
That don't sound very solo to me. That sounds like
so if a man say, hey, look, I can't do this right now. I'm on my journey. You know what I'm saying? And then he, you know what I'm saying? He need this fix. He call you, y'all link up, y'all do the do. And then he go back to his solo journey. Like he kick you back to the curve kind of. How would you feel?
Played. if you are really on a solo journey, I need you to take all the time in the world. Take as much time as you need. Leave me out of it. And if you're serious and you're for real, then you're gonna come back correctly and with confidence. Like I don't want to be in and out, on and off. And I can only say that because I've been there, done it.
Oh, so what's good for the goose is not good for the gander, huh?
Is that what you got from that?
Absolutely. Been there, done that. But now can't accept somebody else doing it. I understand. We've been there, done that.
Is that what she was saying? Been there, done that. As far as being in and out with someone and being on a solo journey is what she called it, and then kind of still dibbling and dabbling with someone. Which part do you think she's been at?
That part. Yeah, I mean, she's doesn't like the way that it feels to her, but she didn't mind participating and doing it when it was protecting her feelings, is what it seems like and sounds like. And that is pretty pretty standard when it comes to people in relationships. Women specifically don't mind doing what they don't like done.
No, that's true. You want to go? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alpine. I'll go after you.
I mean, you know what? It's a lot of things can be true at the same time. What Sean is saying is true, but you have to also understand people elevate, they change. So what was good for her in the past might not be good today, and that's still legitimate. The truth of the matter is, but she can't speak for that man. Because the dude is telling her the truth. If this dude's on his journey, he might just want to get a fix. Now, there's two things. If he tells her that, she's got to believe him.
Right.
She can't believe what she wants to believe. She's got to believe what he tells her. And if he's on his journey, and like the brother said, hey, I'm going to come over here. You know, we're going to fix it up for each other. Then I'm going. But I don't want to hear from you because I'm letting you know. Right? So if he does that, she really doesn't have a ground to stand on if she lets him in.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a bad guy for doing it because he told the truth. A lot of men are like that. So I just want to let y'all know that.
Right. I agree with that. And, you know, but also I totally disagree with she's done it before. She's been on the same side that she's trying to avoid now. She ain't, most women don't move like they just gonna run dudes through the mill. If a woman run a guy through the mill, she's already been ran through the mill. She's been hurt like that before. That's the problem with a lot of young sisters. They come out the gate too fast. They come out the gate doing too much of nasty. It's too much too fast. She's a young woman, probably in her middle 20s, late 20s. She's probably been the side chick up before. And now she's like, I ain't going through that again. I would feel hurt. But the guy, here's the thing, the problem is, you know, we talk too much about it because now you don't have to even move that way. You can just tell a female straight up. If you're on your solo journey, say, look, I like you. I'm going to come through. I'm going to bring some chicken over. We're going to do what we do. Most women agree with that. Because they're making it transactional. You drop a four. I'm just saying it's an ugly, but they are because shoot, the dude they like can come over with some chicken. That's all he got.
Ask for some shrimp too on the side.
But a dude, but what I'm saying. No, I pain. Listen. The dude that she like, he gonna come over with some weed and some drink. The dude, our pain and Sean, the dude like Sean, guess what? He gonna come over with his bankroll with some food for all the kids. So
Happy Meals for all the kids.
I'm just saying.
Happy Meals for all the kids, Sean. Damn.
Shame on you, Pain. Shame
but
on
that
you,
ain't, but that ain't her fault though.
Shrimp, Mr. Gizzard, man.
And that won't be her fault.
Some gizzards?
But yeah, she
really?
just.
It's definitely not her fault. But yeah, I agree with our pain, and like you can't blame him at that point in time. Like that's where you gotta hold. That's where you gotta hold yourself accountable to.
Yep.
It's the same way. You know what I'm saying? If you were still digging a woman, and you know what I'm saying, you knew that she really didn't want you like that, but she called you every once in a while just because, and then you went over there and dug her out, you know, had a good time, and then she didn't hit your ass up for another 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Until she wanted something, she needed something, whatever the case. You can't blame her for dragging you along. You can't blame her for playing with your feelings, especially if she's told you up front. And so it's the same on the opposite side. If he told you up front, yo, I'm on my, but the thing is, telling the woman that you said, let's say that you really want this woman, that you're on your solo journey, but then still piping her down is wild work.
Thank you,
Because
Frank. I'm glad. I'm glad somebody in here.
I mean, but the point
no,
is,
it's
Proceed.
no. Listen,
Frank.
because you know that she actually wants you. So if it's somebody, no,
yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
All
I'll be rude.
I'm
saying,
not arguing. I hear him. I agree with that. I agree with that part.
Yeah, all I'm saying is so two things can be true. We all know that. So on one side, she can't blame him, you know, and she has to be accountable for her actions. She got to be accountable for picking up the phone. She got to be accountable for knowing that, yo, I'm on my solo journey, but I'm coming to smash. We're gonna have a good time, and then I'm out. She got to be accountable for that. Right. On the opposite side, if you know that she really wants you, you got to get that from elsewhere if you're on your solo journey. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because that's how you get your fucking car key. Yeah, that's how you know what I'm saying? That's
out.
Exactly because Arpain, because you know that if you're piping her and she actually wants you and y'all actually have a connection like that, she is going to have feelings, right? No, like those feelings are going to be there.
Something there, Frank, on that point. Let me just interject one thing on that point. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's when it depends on the woman you have, the women you're talking about. I mean, the only reason why I'm saying this because the old man been there and done that.
That was in the 1920s. Y'all just got cars.
No, brother. Listen, listen. No, I'm not disagreeing. Everything you said about what you did in the 70s, it's 100%.
Just hold your thought right there. Because Frank used the scenario: the girl call you up, it's been 4 months, blah blah blah. Man, let me tell you. Yeah, I got that call more than once from a chick when I was up in Buffalo. Got that call.
Did you go?
She said, "What you doing?" I said, "I know what I'm doing now." You know, but she would come over and we would hang out, blah blah blah. Then she would go out into this diaspora, and anytime she needed me, I was there. I would have been the one catching feelings, not her. Right. She was like cold as ice on that part of it, but she was a really nice girl. And I knew some other guys. I knew some other guys dealing with her. She had all these brothers' noses bust open and everything. I said, man, she's not like that. You just gotta, with it.
Did she have your nose wide open, Arpain? Did she have your nose wide open?
No, I was cool. I liked it just the way it was. Hey, man, when a woman comes and wants you and you don't have to do nothing for it, man, that's like gold.
So Arpain, most brothers don't have that luxury of you tall, dark, and chocolate. They don't. Arpain.
Like
you can't. Arpain, listen. A woman can't move like that. It's too dangerous. Young brothers ain't going for that today.
I agree with you.
And a brother can't do the same thing because they'll bust the windows out your car. They'll throw your kids off the cliff.
Hey, listen, and I know
it's not good for the gander.
Listen, and I know dudes that my bad, Sean, and I know dudes that I seen dudes crash out, bro. Like I seen dudes in that same situation where she told him that they were like, we're broke up. You know what I'm saying? Dude banging on her door in the apartment complex, like at nighttime, pushing in windows and shit. Like, so we can't. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you, but what I'm saying is, I'm not disputing the consequences of those behaviors. I'm not saying those behaviors are good. I'm just saying that when you participate understand that's your choice.
Yeah,
And
that's why I said the accountability is on
right,
you.
right. When you sitting there, when she's saying, "Yeah, I'm good with it," and she's likes the guy like that, she is lying to herself, and we are overlooking that.
No,
And I'm
we
like,
not.
No,
let's not
Sean.
overlook that.
See, listen, but if you already experienced something, a trauma in your life, I guarantee you can remember that trauma and be like, I'm not going back there. As
I'm
soon
not.
as you see a behavior with somebody, you be like, oh no, get away from me.
I'm not saying. I'm not disputing the consequences and the results. I'm just saying, you're saying, oh no, you're supposed to understand what she's saying. Is she telling you I'm good with it and she's lying to herself? Granted,
No, that's
granted,
she
you might
lying?
recognize it. Granted,
no, we
She
didn't
ain't-
say that.
Right. She chooses, listen,
what
she ain't going back to that type of lifestyle no more, is what she's
no,
saying.
y'all talking about where she is now. I'm
A
not
dude done already did her like that. She ain't going back to
again,
that.
again, what I'm saying is I'm not disputing her decision. It's a mature decision. What I'm saying is that she already did it. She did
That's
it.
right. She didn't do it to somebody. Somebody did it to her.
No, she said that.
Somebody did it to her, Sean. She ain't moved. Listen, most women don't move like the women our pain was dealing with back in the
Come
day.
on,
I
man.
guess
The women today are
I guess you're
worse,
talking
man.
back in the
They
days.
know.
I guess
But
you're talking back in the days. Because
Back in
if
the
you
day,
go
the
out there
women,
right now,
the women were
no,
more chaste back in the
you
day.
can tell
The
how
women
way she
don't do that.
responded. You can tell the way she responded. She said, "If a dude is gonna put me in the middle, I don't want no part of that."
we
She's
understand that.
lying.
And she
That's
also
why she's
said,
okay. Now she lied. Okay, she lied.
and
Okay,
she also said at the
yeah,
end,
come on,
because I've
man.
been there, done that.
We gotta
Come on,
I'm
man.
not gonna
listen.
say the women
All I
back in
know,
my day.
listen.
were
All I
able to
know,
do that.
all I
I can
know is
see y'all getting
tonight.
y'all with them.
All I know is tonight we was instructed. Listen, it's supposed to be talking to the men. Like, so I'm just doing what I'm just doing what it is. No, I'm just saying, but for real though, I agree with you, Sean. I agree with what you're saying, and I agree with our pain is saying too. And I all I'm saying is on the opposite side as a man, like if we're gonna tell, if you can get up here and you can tell women like, yo, you know what I'm saying, you got to be smart about the way you move. We have to tell men to be smart about the way they move also. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you you got to be Jesus. I'm not telling you got to have the best dick discipline in the world. All I'm telling you is that if you know you got a woman and you got her nose wide open, as our pain would say, and you're on your solo journey, but that's the one that you're calling, the one that you know that she really want that out of you, and you know that you would give that to her if you wasn't on your solo journey. You're calling her for the pipe down instead of just some
Random.
random or
Yeah.
some
No,
Right.
you're right, though.
you know what I'm
Frank,
saying?
You're right, man.
That's
You're
all
right.
I'm saying.
You're
That's all I'm
right.
saying.
But those
I
solo
agree.
journeys get a little lonely, man.
Yeah,
along
that's
the
why-
Okay.
way.
That's why he said go get it.
That's why you gotta go out and go get you. That's why you gotta go find you a rando.
Hold up. Frank,
I
school these
agree with
dudes,
you.
man. School them, man. School
Hey,
them, man.
I'm
School them.
wait.
real.
I agree with you that we need to be more responsible with our decisions, but this is where I disagree. Then you say right after that, don't be Jesus and don't be Dick
No, I
discipline.
said I'm not Jesus.
That's what it takes. And if you're gonna say it, then that's what you gotta
No,
be.
no, Sean.
Jesus.
Wait. Because every time it comes to our Dick discipline, then all of a sudden, no. That's what it takes.
Okay, that's
That ain't
cool.
what
If
he's saying, though.
that's not what I think you be arguing different points, bro. Listen, argue my point. If you go or agree or disagree. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm saying if you're not going to be the dude who has the dick discipline, because she said in the video that you called the girl that you know wants you. And I'm just saying, if you're gonna be calling her to pipe down, then be prepared for the repercussions, and we have to let dudes know what those repercussions could be. But if you're gonna do that, you gotta go out, or you gotta get on these dating apps. You gotta do what you gotta do to find you a rando. You cannot do it with the woman that actually cares about you.
Well, stay
That's
celibate.
all I'm saying.
And
Well,
what
stay celibate.
I agree with you, but at the same time, my first was good for the goose. Now, reason why I said that is because most people take a low-hanging fruit, women included, and stop acting like they don't.
I agree. That's why I said we got to tell both of them.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yo, what's good for the goose,
right,
That's my point.
Frank, you have to take into account that women lie to themselves all the time, though, too.
I agree with that.
I mean, they might think they have it under control, right? But they lie to themselves. You might think you have a tacit agreement with them that this is just friends with benefits and stuff,
Right?
And they'll look at you dead serious and stuff, But there'll be clues. Like if she gets out of bed after you finish banging around and she makes you a sandwich, shit's going sideways. She's starting to feel something, as opposed to telling you to get out. I'm just saying. So you got to take those clues. Like the first time she calls you and said, "Well, I thought you was going to call me next week." Those are clues.
Well,
now she's thinking about it. She wants you to start to be obligated.
You're right.
So some guys miss those clues.
You're right. You're right. And to Frank's point, they also have clues. When you start hitting raw, men are growing feelings, and let's stop acting like we don't grow feelings.
That's.
I'm not so sure.
Hey, see, Sean, don't you buy nobody's kids no more Happy Meals. You ain't buying no more kids.
No more Happy Meals for you, Sean.
The kids got to eat so I can do what I need to do.
Hey, Sean, sit him down on the floor with the newspaper like when they got him eating off the newspaper like you used to do in the hood.
Eat. Me and your mama gotta go talk in the room.
Me and your mama gotta go talk real quick. We'll be right back.
But men do grow these feelings, attachments, whatever you want to call it. And it's coupled with what Frank was saying. It's like, okay, well, if you on this solo journey and you got, things going on with you and you can't really verbally express yourself and you can't, have the vocabulary to express what you're going through, why would you sleep with someone who is into you? Like, why would you even want to put yourself through that?
I agree.
Why would you want to put yourself through that? So women have to be smart enough to say, you know what, you go ahead and go through what you got to go through. And I may or may not be around when you figure it out. But women have to be smart enough to do that. But men have to be strong enough to say, you know what, the attraction can't be my distraction. That's what my distraction is. And I know she's my distraction, yet I don't want to give it up, or I don't want to be without her, or I can't, not go a day without communicating with her. No, if you got issues, you need to take care of them things, because all you're doing is putting up a false sense of what's that saying? A man who ignites a love in a woman but don't have, any intention on loving her. Like it's almost unloving to do that. It's like you're just putting yourself in that person through turmoil. So if you got things to work out, then you need to do that. But you shouldn't try and take advantage of the situation, knowing that there are feelings there for you to then, have your release, knowing that there are emotions there with both of you. That's why women will say to y'all, well, why don't y'all go pay for it? Or why don't y'all go, be with, just get your rocks off on somebody that actually does that kind of work. Because when you start messing with the emotions of someone who, is emotionally intertwined with you, then it can become dangerous. Then that's when your windows might get busted, or that's when, she might get stalked and, he lurking around the corners and across the street and, banging on the door or yelling from you lousy heifer, like all of that can happen. And men, I think sometimes are naive to that. It's just like, oh no, I'm not catching feelings, or I don't, blah, blah, blah. And then you find yourself looking foolish.
Men are not naive to it. Men lie to themselves like women lie to themselves. And men know exactly what's going down and know exactly what the consequences are, and don't let them fool you. They know.
Yeah, but a lot of this behavior, man, listen, man. A lot of this behavior, man, has already started before most people are 21 years old.
Absolutely.
Think about what we got going on. We see it. A lot of this reckless sexual deviant behavior is already implemented before most people come out of high school. It's just sad in our culture because there's no discipline as adults.
Man,
How can you expect a 17-year-old boy to just say, okay, I'm gonna be a father for the rest of my life at 17?
Right.
He's only gone 10 blocks from his house. Even the young girls, they giving their body up too soon. And like Frank say, a 17-year-old with a lot of testosterone with another 16, 17-year-old, that's meat clapping all day. All day. Then the young girl get pregnant. The boy, he's still a boy. He like, shit, I got to do this. There's no cognitive understanding of that process. And most people move in that behavior as adults.
That's all I'm saying is we got to talk. If we gonna talk to the women like we do sometimes, we got to talk to the men too.
For sure.
I'm not telling you to because that's not my position. That's not what I got to say. I'm just saying, bro, be weary. Be prepared for the consequences of your actions, and that's on both sides. But if we're gonna talk to the men tonight, we're gonna talk to the men.
Right. Yeah. And what I'm saying to the men is don't give them the out of not saying it doesn't take dick discipline, because it does. Jesus went away for 40 days and 40 nights. So did Moses, and so did a few other people. And we got to understand what that means. What we're describing, what we're seeing right now is a man who got vulnerable in a weak point, and he took the low-hanging fruit, which is human nature. That's my point. You're right. It's human nature. That's what we're fighting against through all things. It's human nature. That's what discipline is. Being humane.
Right, Marcus.
If not humane, you're a savage.
No, I get what you. I for sure get what you're saying, Sean. I for sure get what you're saying, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
So, do y'all think most men, as they develop, and especially in their 30s, or you think that a lot of men just moving in hurt, or misunderstanding, or because I've seen there's some stuff going on right now where.
Dudes are emotional. Let's define men hurt.
I mean, hurt when it comes to a woman, because you can hear a man that they speak from similar to this young lady's conversation. If a woman is on that journey, our pain, like you just spoke of, and she meets a guy and he likes her and everything, and she still moving like that in her 30s and 40s, how do a guy in that same age group respond off of that? Because most dudes ain't gonna get played. Feel like they're getting played because a lot of people move in their feelings, and some dudes are new to getting coochie. What it is, they late bloomers. So a late bloomer ain't ready to give up nothing this early in the game.
But so let's put it this way though, Ferg, right? And I know everybody goes back into the time frame. This just really bothers me. More women today talk about having a rosters than in my day ever did.
Yeah, of course.
So more women talk like that. They talk about rosters. They talk about paying for me. They talk about selling box.
Yeah,
just out loud, man. It was like,
and our pain. They have a roster.
So what I'm saying is, women who have rosters have built up. I hate to even say it because it denigrates men. They built up a man-like behavior.
And
they're losing. Like if you have certain hormones that get released as a woman on a regular basis with a man, if you can burn out those hormones where you're numb, I don't think a porn star has the same kind of cleaving ability to a man after all those penises.
Pain.
Right? Yeah. So you could burn it out. Well, let me just finish. So if the average woman has more sex partners than the average man these days. I don't think that was true in my day. Those things are true. But today, the average woman who's out there on her own in her 20s, I think she's had more sexual encounters than the average man.
Well, Pain, I'm not disputing that. I literally just had a conversation with my mother over the last couple of days, right? And we were speaking about her generation, which is beyond your generation. And to your point, it wasn't spoken about, but it was being done.
I know that, but we're talking exceptions. That the average woman wasn't like those women you're talking about. Of course, there was whores all through history. I'm not talking about that.
Hey, what I'm trying to share with you is I'm speaking to my mother literally, and she's speaking about her girlfriends, and she was like, you know what? I didn't realize how far they was out there at the time. I now realize it because there was hints right in my face, but they were being disguised.
So what's the point you're trying to make? That the women back then were fucking the way the women are now today?
And Sean, you know the old school saying that women started out with the old school saying.
You guys, every
Birds
time
of a
somebody
feather
says
flock
something like
together.
that, you keep discarding the fact that in 1960 the pill was out there. The dangers of getting pregnant and the inability to get rid of it was a whole different category. Women were just naturally more cautious in what they were doing. So yeah, I mean the point of that they were whores back then doesn't matter to what I'm saying. The rank and file woman wasn't like that. I mean, we're just ruining the conversation.
Can I give you some schooling now, Mr. Old Guy? And you're not that old. When she was talking, she was actually talking about her father's generation, who went to World War One, who went to World War One as teenagers, and married and did came back, and she was sharing about when they were away.
Doesn't matter where they were. Okay. I'm trying to say what's the point you're trying to make?
The point that I'm trying to
that
make
women were stroking back then? Okay.
Yes, they were. And they weren't.
Nobody said they weren't. So we're saying they were stroking the way the women are stroking today? Or are you saying that? Are you saying the rank and file chick was stroking back then the way the women are stroking today? I mean, that's the only question that's relevant.
Nothing is as of yesterday that is like.
Come on,
stop it, man. Stop it.
You think
y'all stop it. Y'all confused the hell out of me, because y'all act like
you confused.
This is what happened. Y'all act like natural transition or inflation doesn't happen. Yes, they are doing it more. If we are sitting there putting it on the scale and comparing inflation versus it's the same type of, it's the same gap that it is. It's just in a different time frame. We have more men now. We have more men now who are stroking in ways that they wasn't stroking back then. No, Payne, let me finish. We have more men now who are not getting married and having children than back in the day. So stop playing with like y'all don't understand.
No. Listen, if you're so you're going back on what you're saying. You're saying that it's equivalent. The only thing that's difference is scale. That's what you're saying. You're saying the women were exactly the same back then as they are now.
I don't use
oh man. But I hear you.
I'm saying
I do hear you, but then that goes against. Wait a minute. When you said what you want to say, I'm trying to get to you, trying to bring us. Let's make the tie. Every time I say that the nature of women don't change, all the young motherfuckers try to hang me in effigy, right? They hang me every time I say that. They say it's different, but it's different when you was back then. Women weren't like that. Blah, blah. You weren't like that. Your shit was easier for you. Blah, blah, blah. And you're telling me the women were just as much hoes back then as they are now.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't stutter.
Oh, yeah. Sean, come on.
Okay, well, how come you won't never defend me when they're kicking my ass?
Well, I actually
saw that when I'm making these arguments. You know
because what's being argued is the scale, like you just said. Now the scale, it's the same if you're gonna scale it, but is it different? It's absolutely different. But
women used to be a lot more secretive back then. Give me that. Women were a lot more secretive.
Yeah, they was a lot more secretive for sure.
Men, when they got somebody pregnant, they used to marry people. That doesn't happen anymore. And it's similar to the scale.
But switching it to today's time scale, and we say the men are similar age. You think 16, 17-year-olds gonna marry each other? Because today, both the average kid is early. If you go back the last 25, 30 years, the average kid was coming before most people was coming out of high school. So you think 16, 17-year-olds gonna get married with already broken fathers, broken families already? You think that could be a thing?
That's why I'm saying the scale is different, because the behavior is the same.
What behavior? Come on, man. Okay, so
can I answer your question when you asked what behavior? The behavior of sexual nature. Did they want sex? Yes. They got married to have sex back in the day. They don't do it now.
But Sean,
they did have sex.
But Sean, listen, you talking to a majority of people. At one point, we had that, right? But to our Payne's point, once that feminist movement hit and that birth control came, it's been flipped upside down 3 or 4 times. And now the behavior is more out in your face, because the old school saying, remember that old school saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? So, and we know based off history, women lie about their past, right? We know that, right? So if me, I'm gonna say our Payne was a little wild guy and we was back in the day. I mean, if I'm hanging with him, so we all move in the same lifestyle. And now we got a lot of older women who've gone to church and they wasn't doing none of this. Lord Jesus, I ain't never, that was Sister Clara now. They was out there when it's the same behavior that people have generationally just induced. And now you see it. I'm telling you, you see mothers teaching children. I don't think mothers taught their daughters how to show their booty first. I don't think mothers, if somebody was turned out with the alphabet, you can already assume that somebody was messing with that baby. Now it's groomed listen, man. I mean, and it's part of man not being there, but also it's part of the system that displaces the man from that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but to your first question, was it? Let me give you an example of how we can tell. Yes, it was. How many people that you know in your family? Let's go back to whatever generation you want that had Mr. This or Uncle That. I can't hear you. Uncle who? Oh, that's your Uncle so and so. That's Mr. So and so. How many?
Hold on. I come from
which implies they had the same behavior sexually and was disguising it under Mr. or Uncle. And now, because it's accepted in society, they don't disguise it anymore, but it existed. Now the scale is different, so that's why we have it. The world is different, and I agree with you. It is horrible right now.
All of my aunts and uncles, from my understanding, my mama's understanding of her birth, they all were married.
Sean, Coach Berg. Hey, Coach Berg. Hey, listen, Sean talking about some different type of uncles, man. Sean is talking about the uncle that he talking about the uncle that he talking about the uncle that
kind of uncle. Did you experience that kind of uncle, Sean? Did you experience that kind of uncle?
Talking about the uncle that your mama used to bring around.
I didn't experience that, so that's why I was counting.
Now, let me answer that. Literally, I did not, but did I see it? Yes, I saw everybody saying, "Oh, that's Mr. So and so." That's
okay. I see it.
So I was raised in the project, so I was close knitted to a lot of different families.
Right, in the projects, that's how it was moved. That's what it was set up to do. But
the reason why I said it, I literally just had this conversation with my mother, and she said that back in the day, her fathers. And she was speaking about her father and mother, and she started describing some of their challenges, and it was very similar. I said, wow. So if we're talking in this day's vernacular, you saying that your mother had a lot of friends who were hoes.
So, Sean, was your mom, when you and your mom married to your father?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
look, how old are you, Sean?
I'm 50. I'll be 54.
Oh shit, you're older than me.
That's good.
Sean, it was a different type of mom, man.
What it is that I'm learning now. I'm having conversations with my mother as an adult, as opposed to son and mother. And
he just started.
He just started.
And she's revealing a lot of the scenarios that she was going through that before this word trauma existed. I'm teaching her the word trauma. She's teaching me some of the history of what was going on in her day and age. She has an excellent memory, so she's sharing with me from her.
Are you writing it down? Are you writing it down, Sean?
He's taking notes.
You're supposed to be writing it. You're supposed to be recording it. Sean, this is the day. You're supposed to be recording all this, man.
I will say this, that this is kind of where I flush it in these conversations. But yes, I am mentally recording. I will, to your point, start taking a lot more physical notes, because the biggest problem with our community is that we don't document many things. And so you're right. But the point is that as I'm learning it, and I'm blessed to be able to have these conversations. She's 77, and I'm blessed to be able to sit there and her being able to share with me what was going on. I was like, wow. And she was like, I must have been
young, man. Your mother's pretty young, though. I thought she was older than that for some reason.
Nah, she's not. But she said I was naive, because here I was being a wife like I was taught to be, and I didn't realize she found out literally over the weekend. She said she was speaking to one of her girlfriends, and they said, "Did you know that your friend and your husband might have had an affair?
Oh shit. Okay.
Hey,
No,
look, hey,
no,
look,
but she
All
was
these
like,
years later, that's
right.
no,
scandalous.
no, but
That's
listen,
some cold
before
stuff.
you jump to it, because they were separated. So it wasn't something that she was surprised at. She was just like, nah. And also she was like, did you and that person's husband have an affair? She was like, no, I never even. And she was like, wow, well, she thought that you had an affair with her husband. So she was actually literally going through like, yo, I didn't realize what was going on because I wasn't participating. I was actually trying to be a wife to a husband, which was my father, who was running around the streets.
Hey, my bad. I don't listen. Can we get back? Hold on. We got to get back real quick. All right. So, there was a question posed, and it was like, "Are men out here just hurt?" And then, I think our pain said, "Can we define hurt?" Can we get back to that real quick?
Yeah, Coach
All
Fred,
right.
was that you asked that question, right? Like, what are men just out here hurt? This was after we were talking about men going on their solo journeys. However, still kind of I guess you could say stringing along the girl that has feelings for him and things of that nature. And you asked a question and you said, so what are men out here just hurt? And our pain said define hurt or male hurt, right? So first we have to do that. What would you guys define male hurt to be? Because men don't hurt the same way that women hurt. So what would male hurt be defined as?
I mean, I can't really so much define it, but I can tell you what it looked like, at least how it looked when I first got hurt. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Cause shit,
based on your perspective.
yeah, cause I'm saying, cause I was out there, I was living, having a good time, didn't really want to settle down or nothing like that. Found a girl, like, damn, you know what I mean, doing my thing, high school sweetheart, and then next thing you know, I'm like, damn, like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? Her god sister liked me, so she told me some shit. And I was like, damn. So after that, it just went to straight for about a good 5 years. Like, I'm like, at that point in time, I just didn't give a fuck. Like, who was in my way? Like, real life. I didn't care who was in my way. Like, we was gonna do our do. I wasn't gonna worry about your feelings. I wasn't gonna worry about none of that. All I was gonna worry about is what I wanted out of the deal, what I wanted out of the situation, and then I was gonna go. Like, I didn't give a fuck about nothing. Like, I shut my heart off to all possibilities of of having any type of feelings, not just dead ass. Like, anytime I thought that I was getting close to catching some feelings, I cut that shit off so quick. You know what I mean? Like, just dead ass. And I mean that and so what that did in turn was like, yeah, that's why I said, like, sometimes, us as men too, we gotta recognize too when we on the other side of the equation, because I know for sure that it was some girls that was definitely 100% all about Franklin, man. I was like, shit, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Just doing my thing, because I already knew, like, I had to get through that. Like, I had to work through that. But you know what I'm saying? But I can easily admit I dig discipline. I wasn't thinking about that.
Well,
That was the last thing on my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying?
uh,
But at the same time, I just didn't like I really just didn't care at that time, like, in my life, bro. She hurt me bad, and I was like, fuck it. I'm done with feelings.
well, it's okay. So what you say? That's why I asked the question. Your answer is exactly what I was looking for. I mean, if you guys can hear me clearly, I think I have a delay.
We can hear you.
Listen, that's exactly what I was talking. Men steal their heart, STEEL, when we get hurt. We steal our heart. And because I know when it happened to me, after a chick, and I got broken out of it real quick because my frat brothers they ragged my ass so much. I was either gonna melt into oblivion or I was gonna take it out on the world. And so I must have told that story before, but I was 19 years old. And in retrospect, I thank God that happened to me while I was so young.
Facts. I was 19 too.
Thank God I wasn't as young as you, but thank God it happened to me when I was so young, because I didn't have the tools to really damage myself. I was still eating popcorn getting money from between the couch chairs and shit to eat. But all the girls I had after that, I wasn't mean to them, but my heart was solid as hell, man. I wasn't letting nobody in.
Hey, Payne, I was 19 too, but I was in the army. So I was like, shit.
Let me preface this. I still say I had some kind of decorum because I think it's consistent. People might not agree. I didn't have like a million girlfriends, but I think I'm one of the rare guys who actually like every girl he has some intimacy with. But I just didn't let it get too far. I was just, whatever you wanted to do, cool. And whatever I was going to do. And it took me maybe a couple of years, but when I got into my early 20s, then I kind of let that shit go and started to like love again.
Soften up.
Love again,
Yeah.
Because I did live with a girl for a while.
Hey, that's funny. They said Frank Discipline with the D was for preachers. Facts.
Yeah.
Hey, facts. I didn't care. I didn't know nothing about that, to be honest, man.
But I think that's cool. We still our heart. I think.
Hold on, Coach. I was just gonna say, like, I didn't know nothing about that because, you know what I'm saying, like. One of my people growing up, like, he's a great example now because now he's a family man, changed his life and did all of that type of stuff. But my uncle was a pimp. You feel me? Like I used to see my uncle, like I lived with my uncle after I left the house. I used to see my uncle bring, you feel me, his hoes to the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like when I left to the army, that was like me. Like I'm like, man, and I see my uncle growing up. When I was growing up, I'm at my grandma's house all the time. So I see my uncle and all that, and it's like house party. So my uncle getting dressed, fly to the T, going out, practicing all they dance moves and shit. So I'm like, shit, well, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn once I got around, married men and all of this type of stuff like that about what shit really was and how you can really be, how you can really change and how you can do things the right way. But before that, nah, it was up. for like 2.5 years I was traveling. I didn't give a fuck about nothing, bro.
To both of y'all's points though, and y'all think about the years they all separate, and I'm sort of in the middle, right? This is a similar route that a guy that does it early. I started at 14. I had that feeling at 14, right? And the one that snapped me out of it was my mother, because she saw me in one of my little episodes, you know what I'm saying? Because I was probably about 16. Like I said, me and my little girlfriend, we was doing too much. But, she saw me in one of my little I don't know what happened, man. It was something. And she saw me, she caught up with me, she talked to me for about 30 minutes. She would just break, she said, my mother cussed and shit when she get mad. She cussed at me. Look, yellow motherfucker, damn it, here you are, I'm trying to. And so what she told me, she said, boy, you got sisters. You see how these little crazy ass girls act in your own damn family. So a girl go act the same damn way. And it snapped on me right after that, right? So once I got to like end up my junior, senior year, man, I was keeping it real, man. My life was so smooth. And when I went to the college military, I never had a problem with women being disrespectful. Right. I never had to really raise my voice and curse. The B word is something used to just turn my stomach. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't call a woman out her name like that. And I ain't argue, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't like guys around me that do that, in a sense, that crash out. But I've been a victim of somebody crashing out. Like Frank say, they think they can handle that. Friends with benefits, they can't handle that shit. They give that shit like 90 days and it's over. 90 days and it's over. And that's the problem young women put themselves in, because they getting the message from the older women, girl, get what you can get. You work your thing, girl, because they understand that they done already ran through the gauntlet. And a brother, I can understand it. If he doesn't have a balanced man saying, son, listen, this is what women do and how they act, and he don't have a balanced woman saying, listen, girls are finicky, and telling them how to deal with that. And I asked, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I asked my father one day, I said, man, why you ain't never talked about me about sex? You told me everything else between. He said, what was I gonna tell you once you got your first piece? He said, what was I gonna tell you? He said, everything I would have told you when out the door. And you know what? When I like, you know what, you was right, because I wasn't thinking about you or nobody else in those moments of getting my toes curled. You know what I'm saying? So I think, but a lot of people give too much of that too soon, and there's no explanation. A lot of people don't even know about sex. They don't even know what it causes, the effects. They don't even know the psychological traumas that just having sex, especially some good sex. When somebody got you over there breathing heavy and you can't move the muscle. Come on, man. At 15, 16, 18 years old.
Michelle, what's that with
Man,
I used to think the little 3 minutes was doing something.
I mean, everything you guys said is on point. What hurt looks like. Precious, when we first met, we were on a panel, and I believe your panel, as a matter of fact, and the guy, I forgot who it was, that went viral talking about, yo, once we confide and they disrupt our trust, we don't ever go back. And what was my response? Who hurt you?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to be able to get through these things. Coach Ferg, I literally, when you speak, often admire the fact that you had all those sisters, because that is a benefit.
That's
I didn't have the privilege of that. So all I could do is observe what was going on around me, and that's what I usually speak to. And from those standpoints, as we were speaking to earlier, and then I learn about and I learned about some of the things. There were a lot of. This is why what we were speaking about. There was a lot of sneakiness and secretive going on in our families, on both genders, and that is caused from that hurt. And hurt is just usually derived from deception, period. And however that deception to where you lose trust in somebody is what translates usually to hurt. But we don't always see it as hurt because we're taught not to, or we're taught to sweep it under the rug or ignore it, or that's just how people are. When in fact, we need to really address it a lot more definitively so that we can have some results that we're speaking of. To your point, we didn't have these conversations. I'm with older people respectfully, because it was told to us, but it wasn't usually sat down and explained to us. It was told in a lot of different ways that we just described in other ways. Don't do that, or do this, or stay holy, or don't, all of the ways that really weren't effective. So I literally was speaking to my homeboy yesterday. His daughter's around 12. And he's building, I commend him as a father, because he's building a good rapport where she's feeling comfortable enough to speak. And she asked her father, what is a WAP, but not WAP. She literally said the words. And right. And he said, where did you hear this? And she said, the girls at my school was talking about it. And this, that, another, to the points that y'all was making earlier. This is what the results of how open it is now have come to. A 12-year-old is sitting there asking her father, what is WAP? And him having to be in the position to have to explain it. And we wonder why we be trying to, that's why people try to censor music at this point, because that's what they're dealing with. And that's what you come home to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, of course you're right, but they always try to censor music. Let me tell you, with that whole thing with WAP, and I want to get back to the title. I saw a concert with Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, and it was a crowd, like 10,000 girls. They couldn't have been more than 14 and 16 years old, all singing every word to WAP, just having a great old time. I said, well, his parents let them come to this concert. But anyway, getting back to this title, this is the second part of the title, Precious. It says, how does that reflect? How does men being hurt in the way we talk about it reflect in the dating pool? So if a woman came up to me or Frank or a guy whose heart is steel, she got hurt because she couldn't get the affection she wanted from us.
Facts.
That's how that hurt. Well, if you call dirty the pool. So that's the way she had to grow up, because once you hit a guy in that thing, you know, if he's in there, I mean, he can still be a nice guy, but he's just not letting you in. Right. And that's where that woman would have to be at a certain part in her own sexual journey to know the difference. Because, and we all kind of agree as men, if you have sex with the same woman on a regular basis because she wants you to come back, she's catching feelings.
Facts.
No matter how we try to couch it, it's just true.
But could it be that we're catching?
Well, let me finish before you go on and say it's true. It's true, but there might be some variations. But it's true. Women catch feelings. But if a man, you catch feelings for a man with a steel heart, now you start to become traumatized because you want more from him than he's willing to give. And if he doesn't come straight to you and let you know that this ain't going no further, whether you hear it or not, the longer that takes, and sometimes it might take more than a few years. And sometimes, you know, if you like them that much, a woman will stick around.
Facts.
Hurt people.
Well, I mean, but I don't want to just make it that basic because there's layers to it.
Heard that saying?
Yeah, no, I have.
Now, the reason I ask you that is because that steel that you're talking about is a hurt reaction, and you're out there hurting because it's a hardened. You know, you call it.
Yeah, but Sean, it's not a conscious thing though. Sometimes it's not necessarily conscious. That's why I'm saying you're trying to make it like I'm hurt, so now I'm gonna hurt everybody in my orbit. It doesn't have to be conscious like that.
But it doesn't matter whether it's conscious or not.
Yes, it does. It does.
If you're shooting around,
it absolutely does. It absolutely matters.
If you're shooting around a gun and you're taking casualties,
that's a bad analogy.
Can you listen to the analogy?
Well, you using a gun. If I see somebody with a gun, there's no coming back. Come on.
Can you listen to it?
Yes, sir.
And I won't say it.
No, I said, go ahead with your bad analogy, so I can cut it off at the end.
It sound like a bad analogy, Sean. I'm letting you know right now, but go ahead.
Can y'all listen to it?
Yeah,
I'm listening. Go ahead, Sean.
If a little kid who has no conscience finds a gun and he's out shooting it and he hurt and it hits somebody, are you saying then that because he didn't consciously know that he was going to hurt somebody, he just is picking up the gun, hey, and now he hurt somebody? So
you know what? Okay. Let's go with your now. Wait, you said your analogy. You got to stop now. Let's just go there, right? If I'm one of those guys, I have a still heart, right? And I find a woman, she falls for me, and I hurt her. But you know what? She's still alive. I could come back and sit down with her and say, listen, this is where I was when I hurt you, and I'm sorry about that. Once that little kid kills somebody, ain't no going back.
He killed him.
That is a bad analogy.
That's what you don't listen.
Okay, so you're going to argue the analogy now, right?
You didn't listen.
You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute, because I say intent matters.
You didn't listen, Arpain. You didn't listen, Arpain. I never said that he killed him. I said he shot him.
You know, come on now. You missed. You know.
He
listen,
shot him.
You did not say he didnn't die.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So why are you taking it there?
Come on, you know what I mean.
Hey, listen, Sean, I did wanted to give you some props before you start going into this wild ass analogy. I wanted to say that there was two things you said that kind of stuck with me right there. So along like my journey, what made me, kind of start turning, I guess, like turning the corner and trying to figure shit out, bro. Was one like my like wanting to see like the outcome for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So when Ferg says like his sisters and all of that type of stuff like that, so that would be one of them. And then I think for a while, I think groupies. Like, I know that sounds wild, but it took a while for me to be like, because of what I was doing at the time.
Right.
You know, seeing the way that some of my friends approached that whole situation and trying to decipher, like, damn, like which side of the, which side of the ring I want to be on. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to be, but that the whole dynamic, and then after experiencing, putting somebody else through what I like, what I felt like I was put through. Once that whole thing happened and I seen the effects of it, then I was like, gotta get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, we all gotta mature, we all gotta grow up, we all gotta figure things out. And sometimes, like, it might, sometimes it might take you a while to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to go through the growing pains, and it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Just in real life, bro. Just as a person to person, it sucks that there is casualties of war, so to say. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There, along the way, there is casualties of war, because those women who actually cared about you, who actually loved you, who actually could have been, possibly good for you, your wife, whatever the case may be. And this is where it comes back to the video, is because when that guy was going back to the woman who wanted him and he knew that he wanted him, bro, that is a form. I'm not saying it's his fault, it's all his fault. That's a form of destruction. You know what you're doing. Just like she knows, as far as she's answering the phone, sure. She's picking up, sure. She's letting you come over, sure. So she has to take accountability for that, just like I said in the beginning. But the fact that as a man, or as a leader, as we're supposed to be, you know that she's going to answer that phone. You know that she's still in love with you. You know that she still cares about you. I gotta get over this hurt. Give me a second, but I'm calling you to I'm calling you to tap you down.
I'm calling Uncle Rick on you.
Hey, I give accountability on both sides. I'm an equal accountability partner.
And then Sean,
I don't disagree with what you said.
You're right. That's the point that I was making to you, Payne, when you said, "Oh, you did it unconsciously." No, you knew what you was doing.
No.
It could be unconscious, because you could be wanting to go on this solo journey, right? And not totally unconscious, but you could be wanting to go on this solo journey, and this woman likes you and things of that nature. And as long as she's answering the phone, everything's fine.
In your mind.
When it's in his mind.
Right.
But as soon as she stopped answering the phone, as soon as she's not picking up your phone calls anymore, as soon as she, goes no contact with you, now you're hurt.
Well, not necessarily.
Can we in fairness say that if he was picking up the phone, he liked something about her?
Well, we know he likes her because he won't
let her go
from the solo journey. Like, we know he likes her. But that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes people gotta understand that there's actually layers to men. We actually have layers. It's not, I know we're straightforward about the sex part, but we do have layers. But that's when I say it's not unconscious. Doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. It means that I don't necessarily purposely want to hurt the woman. So I think that makes a difference. There's guys out there who don't care if they hurt somebody.
Yeah, right? But are you moving with intention or not? If you say you want to go on a solo journey, yet you still go back and forth to her, I want to hurt you by doing this, but does your
can't hear neither one of y'all right now. Y'all talking over each other.
The journey, Precious, is that I want to be celibate and I'm looking for a wife. That's one thing. If the journey is I'm on my purpose to get some kind of business started, which builds up pressure and all that kind of stuff. That's a different journey.
Go to the gym.
Kill a bear or something. No doubt, man. Got to go to the gym.
Pressure.
That's a very valid point. But basically, what you are condoning and what you
I'm
are,
not condoning. I'm not condoning anything.
yes, you're condoning selfish behavior, and that's why we are in a lot of the places where we are.
No, I mean, there's a word called nefarious, and the word nefarious is there for a reason. And some people are nefarious, and some people aren't. And that's why I'm saying, once you come to the realization on what you're doing might be hurting somebody,
Thank you.
I would expect that guy to say, "Let me pull back and let me be honest with the woman. Listen, I got to pull back because of X, Y, Z. Hey, but you know what? It was pretty good about it last."
Yes, please.
But most men ain't gonna do that. We know that.
Yeah.
Most men, if he's already listen, if she gives up the cake.
I'm seriously asking you the question. Can you define the word nefarious?
Yeah, I can, but I'm not gonna go through a spelling contest. That's why.
No, it's not. Yes, Pain. You use the word. I don't know the word. I'm asking you to define it.
You know what? Instead of me just doing it from memory, you want me to go Google search it?
I don't care what you do. You used it. I'm trying to understand it.
Okay, if you don't know what the word nefarious means,
okay, go ahead.
Well, let's keep the conversation going. So, you know why I'm going to look this up as opposed to paraphrasing? Because there's a definition for it right in here.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to paraphrase.
That can come later. Go ahead. Move forward.
That's what I'm saying.
It come later. Go ahead. Continue, Precious.
I forgot what the topic was.
You're right. Y'all done twisted and turned this conversation so many damn times.
Precious, what was the last comment? Because I was going to say something, and they got the nefarious
about a man intentionally. A man doesn't intentionally hurt a woman.
If a guy hurts a woman, to me, he's intentionally doing it.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Because listen, and I'm talking about a grown man. The dude over 25, we know exactly what we do. A dude at 17, 18, most men know, man. Guys know and recognize when a woman like them. We know.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you trying to go out.
But what I'm saying is, right, that's right, and it goes back to the Frank's point. I can't be coming over.
Every man is nefarious. We're all wicked. We're all wicked.
No, come on, man. No,
I'm giving Sean this thing. We're wicked, bad people.
I just looked it up. Yeah, wicked.
Y'all ain't gonna let Coach Ferg finish his point.
No, I know.
He's trying to keep the soil and your raw oats going out there, and this is where the chaos that we in sort of today. I think it would benefit, young people, men or female today, to sort of learn about the everything about giving up your physical self. It's a little bit more in depth today than it was a few years ago. But people move. A lot of women just didn't tell their body language out in the public all day. Women today show too much body language all day. From the time they can start putting on little something, it's all day, every day. And that's the problem. Because men,
whose problem is it?
It's their problem.
Okay.
They're creating their own problem.
Okay.
But men who have limited access to information, men who have growing up where they don't hear the responsibilities that if you live a certain way young today, it could destroy your whole life. If you think you're gonna run around here and slang and bang and all that with 4 and 5, 6 women today, you might catch some shit you can never recover from, and you might get caught up in some chaos because most women are moving like men of today.
Okay.
So it could be a lot of consequences.
So
you know what I'm saying? So
circle how men are the evil ones.
What I'm saying is, a young man should just be able to mix it up. Now, if he has a woman like that, make sure he keep it clean. Wear a condom. You keeping it clean. You can't pass the fluid like that. You know what I'm saying? Wear a condom. Don't put yourself in her hands and she have a child because she love your Johnson. She love it. You overcoming, you performing your best. So you can't unprotect yourself with that, especially if you moving around. But a lot of guys ain't able to have access regularly like that. So if they can find somebody like that, they ain't trying to let it go. But once she realized that he's weak on her, she gonna take advantage of it.
Oh,
If she realized it, if you gonna move like that, you got to move like Frank's uncle did. You got to always be in control of your feelings and emotions if you moving around like that.
You're lending to something I was about to comment. This day and age, men have pimp and hustle mentality, and women have pimp and hustle mentalities, and women have hoe and hustle mentality. And
but they don't have pimp mentality. A pimp always got that bread. A pimp didn't bring no feelings into how women acted and treated. A pimp would move on. Okay. Remember, the pimp game is you chose me. So it ain't the same as that. They're a little bit more emotional.
The mentality don't mean that they know how to practice it well. They just have that as what their goal.
How you know they thinking it then if they not practicing?
I mean, because you can tell through their actions. Easy. It's real simple. Just observe them.
So they don't have the pimp mentality, Sean. These brothers are crashing out.
They aren't pimps. It's a mentality that they're trying to mimic, and they aren't good at it. To your point, I agree. They aren't good. They're trying to, just like women have a whole mentality, and they're not good at it.
Oh God,
they get caught up in the
Sean, you would have a point.
Next time.
You would have a real point about the men if they didn't complain so much about women.
Again,
that's the problem I have. I sit up here and I listen to a lot of young guys that go to Hem's channel. I go, if men didn't listen, men who are getting their way, who have the access that we think we have, because I know men don't have access, we wouldn't complain as much on these channels the way we do. I think there's a lot more men having trouble with the so-called modern woman than we want to give credit for. I'm just saying, and listen, I'm done with giving any kind of advice, but I can listen to it, and I'm saying these guys are having trouble with these, and everybody keeps saying the women are giving it up. Now, some of them are having a lot of sex, but the truth of the matter is, it's still in the top 20%, whatever. Not because the guys are rich. Aesthetics counts as part of the 20%. Money counts as part of the 20%. And the fact is, everybody wants the guy with money, leadership, or it could be gang leadership or CEO leadership. It could be all of that. As long as he has some kind of status or money, a guy is having more fun than the average dude who's working hard. And I think they're not having the sex like everybody thinks they're having. So most guys, in the absence of having a lot of sex, they'll be more prone that if they find a woman, they're going to do right by her because they don't want to lose her to be back out there with no access. That's what I believe.
Okay. And
the average dude, if he finds a woman, he's going to be more apt to be good by her because he's not going to want to be out there tussling with the hyenas. He's just not.
The average dude, if we're speaking average in our generation, you have a point. If we're speaking average,
what generation are you talking about? What generation? We're talking about the generation that you young guys. Forget about the dinosaurs like me. I'm talking about the young people out now.
Sean, where you be at, man?
Young guys wouldn't be our generation unless you think you're young.
Sean, you're talking dudes 20 years our junior. You talking Frank. This is where they are. This is what they doing.
But the point is, if you let me finish, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was saying. So the point is that, again, to simplify pimp and hoe is really transactional. That's really the simplification. They are in it as transaction. They have transactional relationships with nothing else attached. And unfortunately, our reality of where we're going right now is relationships are becoming more and more transactional than they are anything else. And that's why we have so many dilemmas in these relationships.
So who do you, if you was to choose a side on, say, who sort of created this dynamic, which side would you lean to? The transactional life of the relationship to going forward.
Who created it?
Yeah, who you think is more responsible for it? Like taking it to the next level, like into the future.
You're asking too many questions. Who's responsible for it? Men. Who's taking it to the next level? Women.
Women, yeah, I agree with that too.
Okay, there you go.
Wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. All right, we done on this one, y'all. We done on this one.
That was the first one.
Hey, I told. Hey, listen. Hey, Ferg. What did we tell Precious in the back?
Yeah, it was gonna be on.
We said we know when you start talking to men, we gonna be on here to 2 in the morning. It's gonna go back to it's gonna go from talking to men to talking to women to back to men to back to women. It's gonna be there for 2. We're gonna be here for 4 hours.
It seemed like it was a whole show right there.
Precious like, all right, well, that was it. Good night. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Good night and God bless.
All right, so we're gonna get into the next video. This man talks about pretty much carrying the past into your future and having this notion that every woman is the same. Every woman that comes in your life is the same.
Bro, like, it's okay. And I think that's something that we as men need to hear. That woman that you with, be real with yourself. Do you really think she's out to harm you?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, some of you might be in relationships with a woman that don't care and she really is out to get you. But many of the men out there, we paint our partner in the wrong light because of what happened in the past to us.
Yeah.
And we're trying to put them on the same page as the similarities that we've seen in another woman. And that's not fair to her.
Yeah.
Right. You have to give her the freedom to show you who she is. And when you have questions and something confuses you about her and you think it's the same thing, ask why.
Yeah.
And then when they sit there and say, oh, it was because of this reason. I sat there and I fought tooth and nail. No, it wasn't because of that. It's because of this, that, and that.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there confused, like, I don't think there's anything I can tell you right now. You have it hell bent in your mind that this is what I'm doing and it's not.
Yeah.
And I really had to soften my heart and realize, like, bro, your trauma is now leaking into this relationship and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No. He has a point. I just watched the Stevie J interview on another platform, and he was just talking about the fact that, and everybody know, I mean, if you know who Stevie J is, you know his track record with dating. He said, yo, I never trusted a woman because I couldn't, like, my mom left me when I was 6. He said, so like I never trusted her until, he said, I didn't see her from the time that I was 6 until I was like 38. And then when I seen her after that, shortly after that, my mom passed. And he was like, but I never wanted to ask her about why she left us, me and my 5 siblings. I never wanted to ask her, but it took a hold of every relationship that I had with a woman. I never trusted a woman. And you see, he didn't have Faith Evans. He didn't have Jocelyn Hernandez, crazy ass. You know what I'm saying? All these different women, and none of them, none of them relationships worked out because he thought every woman was out to hurt him. And I know that for a while, for me, it took me a while to notice it. And that's why when Sean was saying, like, when our pain was saying, like, when you're doing it, like, you know, subconsciously or consciously and things like that, and you don't know or you do know, there's a difference. Because, like, when you don't understand or know why you're this way, like, why I don't trust this woman, why, like, she is good for me and I'm still, like, not able to give her what she need and all of this, it's definitely a difference than when you know. Like, when you know and you're just doing it, then there's definitely a difference. But when you don't know, like, why you just can't get shit together, why you can't get it straight, like, until you do some real shit, like, really look into it, like, really look into yourself and figure things out, then shit won't change for you. Like, that you're going to keep getting the same result. And that, like, literally, bro, like, I feel like when he was saying that shit, I was like, damn, bro, like, goodness, like, because my whole time growing up, I felt like I couldn't trust my moms, no doubt. And I'm not blaming her, but I'm just saying it's like it started with in the house because that's the first person that you love. And you know what I'm saying, that's the first woman that you love. And if you can't even trust your mom Dukes to tell you the truth or to give you the love that you really want and that you really need, like when you go out and you see a woman, you're not gonna know how to love her right. That's just real rap, and you're not gonna really believe her, like or that she has your best interest at heart. That's just real life, man. Like some of this shit, some of this shit is whining. Like some of this shit is pandering to women as far as that shit go, and some of this shit is just real life. People go through real shit out here, and it may not be your experience, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, like that shit be real, bro. I don't know if any of y'all been through that shit, but I'm just I just try to be honest, man. Like that shit definitely.
Frank,
You can learn a lot. All you gotta do is just listen.
Those scenarios could be true. I mean, look, we already mentioned that men steal their heart when they get hurt. I just don't like the word trauma. The trauma to me is they got a medical term for that, I believe, and I don't think it's all trauma. I think some of it is just growing pains.
No,
but you're right.
You don't think your mama can traumatize you?
Yeah, that's where everybody coming from.
I didn't say that. I mean,
no, I'm asking. I was just asking.
No, I want to get to that. That's to me. Of course, your mother could traumatize you, but those are extreme experiences. Maybe that's more. No. Maybe that's more.
You have a still heart.
Can I finish? Maybe that's more common now because of the failed generations after the baby boomers.
Yeah.
But my experience, my mother was there coddling me like a little baby. So all I'm just trying to say is, yeah, that could carry into your relationships.
It does.
The guy on the video didn't say his mother traumatized.
No, I gave another example of how.
Hold on. The reason why I said that is because I can see the scenario you painted, Frank, is traumatizing.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know where the guy on the video got his trauma from. I think he got it from a previous relationship. So I think that's what he said.
I'm going to play it again. How about that?
Wait, before you do that, the point isn't where the trauma comes from.
It matters. It matters.
You had trauma. You had a steel heart. You had a steel heart. Which
I was just play the video.
You had a steel heart.
It matters to me then. It matters to me. It might not matter to you, but it matters to me.
Pain. You had a steel heart, which was trauma. You got it from a girlfriend, but you were still traumatized.
Nah, it's not. There's layers to it, man. There's layers to it. If my mother left me, it's not the same thing as losing a girlfriend, man.
Yeah, but we have
somebody.
But our pain. So I think this is where men fail. I think that you don't look at the root of what's going on with you. You just it just all just piles on, and you just keep going on about your day, about your life, about your month, and about your year, and you don't actually get to the root. Your mom failing you can definitely cause a decrease in successful relationship.
I agree.
And
that's different than a girlfriend leaving you.
Invested time.
That's different than a girlfriend leaving you.
And your woman that you
but it links back to your mom traumatizing you, leaving you.
Not being affectionate. I mean, he's equivocating a mom leaving you to a girlfriend leaving you. I don't agree with that.
Oh, what I'm saying is they're both traumatic. And you're sitting there.
They're not the same level. There's different levels of trauma. You tell me they're the same. I don't agree with it. Why don't we just move on? I'm not going to agree with that.
It's part of the problem that men have.
No, I just think it's bullshit. That's all.
Well, that's part of the problem that men have.
It's not part of the problem. It's not. It's only a problem for me. It ain't a problem for you.
No, it's a problem. You then reflect it into the world.
I'm going to tell people who deal with me that that's not the same kind of trauma. It's bullshit. If you use a girlfriend, it's not the same thing as your mother walking out on you. That's just
But listen, can I jump in?
The girl walked out on you.
But real quick, everybody has a valid point. I'm gonna speak from a position when I work with young men, right? When I work with young men who've experienced, and I've been saying this for a while, a lot of these sort of psychological issues for the both men and the women is coming out of the home. When a lot of these boys, man, when they turn 14, 15, man, They have no supervision. They have nobody encouraging them. They out here and can do whatever. They can hang out all night. They ain't got to go to school. They don't have to do nothing. Their parents don't even talk to them. Don't even go in their room. They don't have no expectations of them at all. None of them. And when they get into these race relationships and when they see how these women have the same behavior as their mama, and he wants to be in a relationship, but that same behavior.
Suppose the guy's mother wasn't fucked up. Suppose the guy's mother.
Hold on.
Suppose the guy's mother was there.
You still can get fucked up by. You still can get fucked up by.
You can get fucked up by.
Why was your pain? Why was your heart? Why was your heart still? Why was your heart? Was it? What was the problem?
Because I lost a girlfriend.
Well, then you got hurt.
But it wasn't
your mother could hurt you. Your girl could hurt you. Your cop could hurt you.
But the same levels.
But our pain, listen. But our pain. You didn't come from a home either that a mother hurt you coming out the home. So when you get
making that connection.
But that's why
the guy in the video didn't talk about his mother.
No, he didn't.
Bro, it's an exact. Bro, it's extra It's just extra content. No, because
add the rest of this shit.
Bro, because right off of the bat, when we were just talking about it, bro, you just said there's layers. So that means that means one thing over here can be
no layers to it.
No, who said nobody said that? Nobody said there's no layers. So like we're just saying that there's layers to it. You can absolutely be hurt by a woman and take that into another relationship. And that is taking trauma into another relationship.
Hurt by your
mama. Exactly what that is.
Or it's just but there's, like I'm saying, when we use the word trauma, right? Some trauma, you can get rid of that trauma in that relationship. Some trauma needs other.
Is there trauma in hurt? Is there trauma in hurt?
Can we just identify what's going on?
I'm saying that
right
if
now,
you took the trauma that your mother abandoned you in a new relationship, just working it out with that other girl ain't the same. You got to still the fact
but if that girlfriend is exemplifying the same behaviors that he saw from his mama, a lot of black people's parents lie to them in their face about dumb shit. They'll lie. The father's trying to call, but daddy ain't trying to see you.
I hear you guys.
They lie, man.
I think we're conflating things. If you're saying trauma equals trauma, let's move on. I don't.
The real problem right now is that you're triggered by the word trauma. Let's be clear. You're triggered by the word trauma. You don't like the word trauma being used in the places that we're using it. That's on you.
I just think the word's overused.
That's on you, though. But
I said it's on me. I said it's on me. That's why I'm saying we can move on.
You're trying to conflate. You're conflating it because you're triggered by it. You're not recognizing.
I'm just thinking that everybody overused it. People do overuse words. I think trauma is one of those words that gets overused.
Our pain. The generations after you ain't as strong as the boomers, man. We didn't own that. I'm telling you, they don't identify it until years later. Like, oh, it's trauma, and they hold on to that. Our pain, like I said, you got snapped out of it. You got snapped out of it with a conversation. A lot of people, listen. That's how people bond through trauma today. They don't use it to sort of like heal themselves. They hold on to it into 20, 30, 40. Now everybody turned 50. They want to release the trauma and let it go, but that's too damn late. When you recognize that shit and you identify it, go talk about somebody you don't know. Get that shit off your chest and move on. It'll do your life a lot better. And now when you come across that person that gave you trauma, you confront that shit and be like, you little ugly motherfucker, and keep it moving.
And Payne, the reason why
you ain't gotta do it like that. It's too bad.
It's because I can't
even concede. The
reason why I recognize it and identify it is because I actually had somebody who was suffering the same thing, that they didn't understand or never knew about the word trauma. And now that it's being overused, they don't really like the way that it's being used. And so they combat against it. But it doesn't negate the context that is being used.
All right. let's go back to. Can we see the video with my little
Sure can.
traumatized man? I like to see the traumatized man again. See how he said this.
Not the traumatized man again.
It's okay. She's not out to harm you, bro. Like, it's okay. And I think that's something that we as men need to hear. That woman that you with, be real with yourself. Do you really think she's out to harm you?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, some of you might be in relationships with a woman that don't care and she really is out to get you. But many of the men out there, we paint our partner in the wrong light because of what happened in the past to us.
Yeah.
And we're trying to put them on the same page as the similarities that we've seen in another woman. And that's not fair to her.
Yeah.
Right. You have to give her the freedom to show you who she is. And when you have questions and something confuses you about her and you think it's the same thing, ask why.
Yeah.
And then when they sit there and say, oh, it was because of this reason. I sat there and I fought tooth and nail. No, it wasn't because of that. It's because of this, that, and that.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there confused, like, I don't think there's anything I can tell you right now. You have it hell bent in your mind that this is what I'm doing and it's not.
Yeah.
And I really had to soften my heart and realize, like, bro, your trauma is now leaking into this relationship, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
For sure. That wasn't just about relationships. He said your past. He did not say your past relationships. He said your past. That's why I said that. That's why I said that's the only reason why I said that. It wasn't trying to conflate the two. It's just that your past can definitely help start like guide you in the way that you're going. So like it can guide your mistakes and it can guide the way that you see life, can guide your success, all of that. Your past can do that, whether that's a relationship with a woman that you know, a woman that you've been with, or your parents or your whoever mistreated you. That's all a part of your past, and you can carry that shit into relationships. So I wasn't trying to conflate. I was just saying that part of your past definitely follows you. It can fuck you up. It can hurt you. It also can lead you to success. It's not a one size fits all thing. That's all that I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to conflate the two. I was just giving an example of how your past can fuck you up.
Listen, he's used the word many men. I would like, if I would have talked to this guy, I would say, do you think most men have trauma that they ruin their relationships, or less men? I would like to know what percentage many means. You know,
well, I mean, if you
because you mean most men?
If you look at today's climate, most men would just rather stay single, right? Most men would rather stay single. And if they had their trauma under control, if they had their past experiences and weren't trying to, blame everything on, because I have another video we're gonna watch, but it's like everything is the issue with why you're not committing, or everything is the issue on why you don't want to settle down. Oh, it's a risk, and it's I seen this, and these people didn't stay together, and these people didn't stay together. That obviously is building up trauma inside of you where you're stuck and you can't go forward in your own life because you're worried about what happened in everybody else's life.
That's not trauma, though. It's not trauma. It's business. Most men don't want a relationship today because it's not fair, especially marriage. Now, if the marriage laws was different, men would be lining up to get married with all the trauma, with all that kind of stuff. Most men don't want to put their assets at risk.
There are men out there living in fear.
We're talking about most. I don't think men are not getting married to women because of trauma. They're not getting married to women because it's not a good deal. It's not. Especially if you have assets. It's just not a good deal. And we can sit down here and try to say that that's not really it. It is it. Guys get destroyed in divorce. And women leave men in droves. It's just true. We can't ignore that. No matter how good
is that traumatic?
Let's get down to the
root. Describe traumatic.
No, it's not trauma that stops you from marrying them. It's the divorce laws. It's the court. It's the law.
Is that traumatic? Are those laws traumatic to men?
No. Only if you get in the divorce is traumatic to men. Not
right, but you have men who have never been married who say that. So where is that coming from? I can see if you've been married.
It's because they see what's going on with men around in the world.
And it's traumatizing to them. They stand stronger. It's traumatizing. That's why they think like it.
Now we're misusing the word trauma. It's not
the word. Okay, so hold on. So let's use the word fear. So if a woman see that a woman has been through a divorce and all that, or her mom's been through divorce, you know what she's gonna do? No, I'm just talking about we're talking about the use of the words. So I'm saying, like, if you see your mom been through a divorce or your dad been through divorce, you might fear divorce. Like, I mean, either way, it's still you living in fear.
No, it's not trauma.
If you seen your frat brother,
I just said fear.
Get all their money taken away from them through a divorce.
If you know for a fact statistically that if you have assets and you get married, and this woman changes, it's being frugal.
But if you
it don't matter. It's still fear. You're afraid of it.
If you get into a business relationship with somebody, you can risk your assets. Like, your assets can still be
we'll have a signed agreement.
But you'd rather get into that business relationship than actually be with a woman who is actually supposed to help you with what you got going on.
And it's a signed agreement, Payne.
That wasn't the question on the floor. You said the reason why men ain't getting married is because of trauma. I disagree. I think men get married because of the disagreement
comes from the fact that
hold on.
You don't like the word trauma.
Me and you, we're going to be partners, and we write up a partnership agreement. This is yours. This is mine.
Marriage license?
Not a marriage license. An actual partnership agreement. Because women don't want husbands; they want partners. They say that all the time. So why don't we write up a partnership agreement? You young people, right? Because marriage doesn't mean the vows don't mean shit. Nobody cares about that. So you write up an agreement. This is yours. This is mine. If we split up, this goes this way. How we deal with the kids, unfortunately, that's going to go back to the courts. But the fact is, men are not getting married because they have trauma. They're not getting married because it's just not a good deal for them in America.
Payne, I want to bring to your attention. That's why we changed the word to fear, because
it's not just fear; it's frugality.
All right,
and frugality comes from fear, Payne.
No, it doesn't. It comes from stats. It comes from numbers.
Fear, and those stats create fear.
It comes from
stats create fear. You only are afraid of losing it because of what somebody else has lost. Have you lost it? Have you lost it, Payne? Payne, have you lost it? Have you lost it, Payne?
We tell people to learn from other people's experiences.
Okay. Have you lost it? You haven't. So you're afraid of losing it for what reason?
Listen, the point is, it's frugality. It's financial.
And frugality comes from fear.
It's financial.
I'm not disputing that it's frugality. I said the origin, the root of frugality is fear.
I don't get how we can say more than one thing can be true at the same time.
Well,
and then when somebody says something, we act like more than
none
one
of y'all
thing
saying
can
that.
be
You're
true.
just telling me I'm wrong.
No, nobody said you was wrong.
I said you was wrong.
I said let's use another word then, and you said no, it's not fear, it's frugality. Like, we went from trauma to fear to frugality. So you're like
because you're okay. Go ahead.
Hold up, but it's different types of trauma. I'll put it out there. Check it out.
So trauma is when we experience very stressful, frightening, or distressing events that are difficult to cope with or are out of our control. Right. It could be one incident or an ongoing event that happens over a long period of time. Most of us will experience an event in our lives that can be considered traumatic.
Can you leave it up there? And our Payne, can you read that for us?
No.
Listen. The word out of your control is when you get married.
But the trauma we're talking about is vicarious trauma. Vicarious trauma is what Black people experience every day, all day.
Right.
We bring it to the space that men ain't shit. I ain't had a man that wasn't shit, but my aunties them said and did, and I saw it in my families, and women ain't shit because, my best friend's girl was cheating on him with me.
And then let's reverse it. I don't like these women because they all take our money. They use us. They go ahead and take us to the ringer. Once we get married to them, once we nice to them, it's the same thing.
So now I'm scared.
When ain't nobody took your money.
Right. So now I'm scared because I heard what everybody else went through. That's vicarious. That's a form of trauma. Our pain, you don't see it that way because again, you came through a time where you can push yourself through it and not hold on to it. Young people today hold on to it because they coming out of the house. They coming out the gate with people telling them that they ain't gonna be shit in their own family.
I mean, but
that's trauma.
Well, if we're gonna add everything into the pot, then you're correct. I mean, but if we want to be specific, if you ask a man, if you ask why men aren't getting married today, it's not trauma.
What age?
Hey, did you just read? Now you got to put that back up. And seriously now, you got to read that, Pain. You got to read that.
If we focus on,
you got to read that, Pain.
What we
Sometimes
want?
you just got to conceive.
Let's put an age on it.
Put that back up, please. Put that back up for him, please. Put that back up for him and read it.
No, don't have to do it. I'm not.
But you do because you don't get it.
I do get it.
You know you don't.
That has nothing to do with why a man is not getting
look
married.
at what trauma is. Read it.
It has nothing to do with a man not getting married. He's not getting married because.
So I'm paying. Put an age on that though, because you hold up. Can we put an age on that though?
Put him at risk.
Can we put an age on it?
Is not in a man's control, right?
That's right.
It causes
control.
It causes stressful, right? It causes stressful, frightening.
You don't get married though. It doesn't cause stress if you don't go ahead.
What if you find a woman who is going to give you all your money and don't care about
you get married or not? Because if you got assets, it's going to stress you out.
For different reasons.
If you got assets, it's going to stress you out.
You gonna run into a female like the female that says she already been through that. She gonna bust the windows out your car.
Nah, man.
What you talking about?
Where Uncle Rick at? Okay, I'm being.
Let's
Uncle
put an age on it though. We gotta look at it in perspective. We gotta break it down. Guys in their 20s ain't afraid that they gonna lose shit. They afraid that they gonna get their heart.
But they ain't get married either though.
But I'm just saying, a guy, our pain that you're speaking to is a guy that's on his way to doing something. 30, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
a guy who, if he's in his 30s, he might have something to lose.
But that's what we talking about. Guys in their 20s ain't got shit to lose. They only want to get together for the mental capacity of how to stress their ass out because they listening. I'm paying to your point. A lot of guys ain't getting it on the regular. So I'll just say 35-40% of dudes ain't in a relationship. But they so scared to be in a relationship because they've heard about what they seeing from other people without going through the experience. You have to go through the experience. Get your asses and get into experience and be a man that you want to be today.
We just not going to agree on this one. Man. You guys, listen. Like I said, I can see you guys are right, and I'm wrong. I don't agree with none of y'all. I just think that men are being frugal. And the young guys, those young guys who
do you know we have that argument?
A whole bunch of women who don't want to get married.
Hey, do you know we have that argument with women all the time of where they just
a lot of women don't want to get married either.
Right, women are living in fear too. That's exactly what I said. No,
tell them to go stroke everybody.
Exactly.
But that's their form of fear, though.
That's not even It's not even just that. Hold up, no, it's not even just that. Women are living in fear too because they mama went through a divorce. I'm just saying when they were younger, they mom like. I know a girl that soon as she got to college, her parents got a divorce. After 20 years of being married, they waited until the kids left the house and they got a divorce. And you know what that did to the young lady? All I'm saying is these things happen. And and it took her all the way until she was like 37 to even want to start to get married, bro. And it happened to her when she was 21. That's all that I'm saying.
No,
okay, so I'm saying
trauma the same way,
bro. I said fear. People fear things that they
don't fear the same things.
But
you got it. You got it.
Nowadays they do. They both fear marriage.
They do. Yeah.
Not for the same reasons.
They might not. Hold on. They may not act it out the same. Hold up. Men, women. Listen, the trauma. They may have the same. The acting out of the trauma is different. It is the acting out of our pain. A man walking in and seeing our pain, you know, with his wife, Sean with his wife, he might just take everybody out. A woman, she might do the same. So it's like, you know, oh my God, it's
I hear you guys. I mean, listen, I just don't agree with y'all. That's all.
Yeah, what I said earlier, Payne, is you realize that week after week we talk about women who are presented with facts, but they don't agree, and we complain about.
You're not giving me any facts. You're giving me your opinions.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
No, we're not.
We just your opinions. I don't agree with them.
Our Payne, we just put up something that wasn't none of our opinions that we asked you to read, and you're denying it.
I've read it. It has nothing to do with. I don't agree that's not why men are not getting married.
That right there. Let's use that as a fact.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree. I agree with the definition.
This is
but
none
I
of
don't
our
agree
opinions.
that's why men are not getting married.
Okay.
That's part of it. It's all mixed in together for real.
I just want to say this, right? Arpain, you're saying that men don't get married, right? Because they risk losing their assets.
They risk losing. Right? Women hurt men when they get married. You don't. I think first of all, I don't think a lot of people realize what a man goes through when he asks a woman to marry him. I mean, it's not just that simple. When you ask a woman to marry you, you're putting everything that you have, the real kind of guys, and telling that woman you're going to take care of her and everything y'all do for the rest of your life. Women take that shit cavalierly. The trauma will happen afterwards. That's why men are cautious about that shit, man. That's our one last gate. Everybody's trying to treat it like it's just something you say to somebody. If I ask a woman to marry me, I'm telling her everything. When I shook my father-in-law's hand, I'm saying to him, yo, you don't never have to worry about your daughter again because she's with me. And so a lot of people take that shit lightly. And that's why men saying, if I'm going to make that commitment to a woman, if I'm going to make that commitment to a woman, I got to have something reciprocal.
That's because unlike you, unlike you, Payne, that's because unlike you, a lot of men lie.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Like you asked her, right? Which means you knew this woman would be a part of your kingdom. And so if you're asking this woman this and you wholeheartedly love her, then everything should be fine. But you have men who ask women who like the guy in the video said, every woman's not out to harm you. Every woman is not out to get all your money. Okay, there are women who care beyond the money.
Yeah, at 30% clip.
So if that's what's holding,
is that a fact or your opinion?
30%, well, 50% clip, maybe.
Is that a fact or your opinion?
You go look it up. What's the divorce? Just look up the divorce rate.
Is that a fact or your opinion?
Look it up. I don't have to.
You went from 30 to 50.
Hold on, Sean. But you can't say that because that's only one of the top 3 reasons people divorce. So you can't say that. No, so you can't say that they always there for money.
The other thing is pain. You just said look it up. We just looked it up. We gave you what we looked up.
It doesn't matter if he's losing everything.
Payne, you just said look it up. We did just look up trauma. We gave it to you, and you're still not accepting.
I don't agree that men don't get married because of trauma.
You gotta just let it go.
I didn't say the definition was wrong. I just don't agree with what they're trying to apply.
I'm gonna do it, Uncle Rick. You're right.
Well, it could be one of the reasons, Arpain. It don't have to be the reason, obviously. But it is one of them.
I'm trying to concede.
I agree with you because that's
trying to say trauma has no place in the market, in the dating.
No, it does. I just think the word's overused, and that's all I'm saying. The word's overused, and I think we need to put it in the spot.
It might be overused, but no one's really taking heed to what you truly have to do when you're traumatized. People might be using it, but they're not going nowhere to actually heal the trauma. And so when we have conversations like this, and you say that the word is overused, then you're glossing over the fact that people really aren't addressing what they need to address because
anybody who has real trauma, go find somebody to go talk to you to get it fixed.
Well, the thing is, Pain, you're the same real trauma. We just went to a fact of where you got hurt and you hardened your heart, as you call it, still.
Yeah.
Can I finish?
A hazing by my frat brother
finish?
is just like minor trauma to me. I survived it.
Can I finish?
And then you know what? And all the girlfriends.
Pain, can I finish?
Yeah, but you keep making these.
But you might not have survived that.
Can I make it without you interrupting me?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just doing what you do to me.
Okay, well, that's petty and childish.
I could be petty once in a while.
I know, so can I.
I'll pay. Your frat brother might have saved you from a life of trauma with that girl that was going
Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, but all I'm saying is that in my opinion, what I observed is you have an issue with the word trauma. Cool. You got to accept that, though. That is your issue. You get triggered by the word trauma. And that doesn't negate that it doesn't exist. It doesn't negate that the meaning that we just put up there for trauma isn't the true meaning.
I just say what I agree with the definition. I just didn't think it applied to why men didn't get married.
It does in certain circumstances, not in every.
I don't agree.
It does in certain. Can you concede to it does in certain circumstances?
No, in majority.
I didn't say how much. I'm not giving the ratio.
You tell me. Do you think most men don't
to
get
your
married?
point, I pay. You speaking from YouTube. A YouTube talking point, yes. Most dudes on YouTube, they'll say that. But most dudes ain't really got shit to lose, though. Let's be honest. Most dudes ain't got themselves established. You can take a
I agree with that.
A YouTube point, yes, they say that because that's the popular thing to say. However, a lot of those dudes still would love to meet a woman right now and marry her at some point.
Then why don't they? It's
because they listening to the right.
Because our pain been traumatized and had a steel heart, and he's on here telling them don't do it. I did it, but don't do it.
The feeling is that they're not getting married because they say they can't. It's either they have something to lose or they can't find a woman that's marriageable. They don't say trauma.
It don't.
I haven't heard one man say, "I'm not getting married because I got trauma."
No, he ain't gonna say that. You think a man with his pride gonna say that?
Yeah,
he's not saying that, or Pain. But men who don't even have a whole lot yet are saying, "Oh, well, she's just gonna take all my money. She's just gonna take everything from me, bro." You don't even know. But I'm just saying he's not living off of his own experience.
Vicarious trauma.
He's not out there experiencing. Yeah, so he's seeing somebody on YouTube say, "Hey man, well they gonna take all your money, so don't even know." And then next thing you know, what he does at 22 years old, 25 years old, like when people could be building together. It like fresh out of college, fresh like your senior year, your junior year, whatever. All I'm saying is that you could be building together. You could be starting something right there, fresh. Okay. And guess what? A lot of them people right now are on YouTube telling people right here, like, "Hey, well, she just gonna take all your money." How you don't even got shit yet? How would you know?
Hold on for a second.
I put it in the chat. Look at highlight that chat that I put in there. The trauma that we speaking to. The trauma that we speaking to of is the vicarious trauma. You hear about it, you witness it from others. You haven't even experienced it. That's traumatizing.
Like I said.
Pain, the reason why we're getting on you because you actually
I'm not even getting on them.
You actually are the epitome of the opposite of that. Yet you're sitting there advocating about how hard and how scary it is.
No, you guys, I didn't advocate for anything. I just say that most men are not getting married because it's not trauma. They just don't trust. They don't trust.
Where did you get that from?
That's not trauma. They just don't
trust.
Where
did you get that from? Through your own,
where did they get it from?
Rates. The women don't want to get married. Listen, there's a lot of reasons why men don't want to get married. It's not that they're all trauma fucking ties.
Who knew? I'm
trying to move on. Why can't we move on?
Who knew most of this shit before YouTube? Who knew most of this shit before YouTube? These YouTube talking points.
That's why these are great panels for seeing what people are really thinking about.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's why we have these panels, why YouTube is blown up and everybody gets a little bit of retrospective, not just old guys like me, young people, everybody, because you start to see your life in the mirror because of the people you interact with. And their experiences, your experiences, you all put together, and it forms like a stream. And if you see a lot of people talking, right, young people, middle of the road people, older people, you'll start to form generalizations. Kevin Samuels, the biggest thing that he did is that he had data, because he asked thousands of women the same thing. You know what, Kendra G, no matter what you think about her, she has data.
You're right, but
because she says the same thing to a lot of different people, and so once you get that data, you can start making inferences.
What we're saying to you is get data. You're going on nothing but.
I'm going on what I heard on these streets, and
right. That's data.
The data says men ain't getting married.
That's
not what the data says.
That's opinion. That's the YouTube.
It's not opinion.
The data is not gonna reveal that they're not getting.
It doesn't say why. It doesn't say
trauma.
It doesn't say.
It's gonna.
I'll give you that.
Because the divorce rates are high, and because the divorce rates are high, the amount of money that men who do have something to lose is just losing it.
It's really not the ones who have so. It's the guys in the middle of the road. If I'm 45, 50 years old and I put it out the mud, I don't have to be rich. If I lose whatever little I have in divorce, because I know divorce, man, I think you guys do too. They're not rich. But if their wives take what little they have and you're 40 or 50 years old, you ain't recovering. You're not Jeff Bezos. You don't have the time to recover. You don't have the energy to recover. You don't have anything. A lot of divorces happen later on in life.
That means choose correctly and make your goddamn marriage work, right?
Hello. That's true. I mean, that's why it's so critical, and that's why people are extra cautious, because I think the vetting of women and men, it's not there because nobody's teaching them, because it has to come from the right person. Come from an old front like me, or the women ain't the same. If it comes from somebody who gives them pie in the sky, they're not telling me about the trauma, and what I might face. So I don't envy the young people. I just don't. They got, they're getting all these mixed messages and shit like that, but I don't call it all. I mean, I just don't.
I don't old people because we're giving them the mixed messages and we're ignoring that.
No. Yeah, I can't give them any message because
you're literally right now.
No, I can't. I stopped giving people messages. I'm just telling you that I don't agree. I think people are just weak, man.
Disagreement literally right now is shaping somebody who might be listening.
Oh my God. So are you. And so are you.
You're a happily married man.
Yeah,
I am. See the disconnect in that?
And you know what? If I try to explain to somebody how to be happily married, they'll tell me that I'm fucking old and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. And
today's women are different.
And
that's what they will tell me. And I'll tell you, wait a minute, man. A woman's still a woman. You don't
even understand the dynamic of the woman because
you know what, man? She's either going to want to be married to you or she's not. That's the same thing that happened with me and my wife.
Traumatized,
she's going to want to build with you or she's not. Doesn't matter what age. It doesn't matter because it's 2025.
Let's use your concept.
It doesn't matter. And you know what? And when I say that, everybody says, "Well, that's not well. Everybody's different. Got social media. She gets likes and all this other bullshit in her DMs. So that means she can't make a commitment. That's bullshit." So listen, I'm trying to move on. You guys are right. I have my own little opinion. I think trauma is overused. I think men are not getting married, not just because they're traumatized.
Every man is not about just their money.
You're right.
And that's the problem. When the man is about his money, he thinks exactly what you're talking about. And I understand.
It has nothing to do. What I just said, it has nothing to do with money.
Yes, it does, because that's what
it doesn't. Not what
that's what you're saying. You're gonna lose your money. That's what you're saying.
What I just said. I didn't say what I said.
I'm saying generally. I'm taking the gist of what you were saying and putting it together. And what you're saying is
I think we should move on. That's what I think we should do.
I heard that. But you're denying what I just said? You're not saying generally you're gonna lose your money?
No. I said what I said in the beginning. I think a lot of men are not getting married because they're afraid that they're gonna get hurt in divorce. Most men fear divorce. They don't fear marriage.
God, did I not use the word fear? And
Well,
you said
fear,
that
okay,
wasn't.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah, but
my
that's
God!
well,
All
well,
right,
well,
you just that's what you just
most,
gotta
most
concede.
men, that's true.
I
But most
concede.
men fear divorce, not marriage.
I
We were talking about getting married.
said no. I said fear. I
Yeah,
said
but
fear is the
not
worst.
fear of
I
marriage.
said
They
fear,
fear
and I said divorce. I said that. I
All right,
said
so
that,
Frank, you're
bro.
right. Okay,
No,
great.
no,
You use the right
no.
word.
I'm saying.
What's the point you're trying to make?
I'm saying that. I'm saying that you see how you were so hell bent on on disputing
Trauma.
what people were saying that I even said, "Yo,"
No,
I said, "Well, let's change the word." Hold on, I said, let's change the word from trauma to fear
fear.
because people have seen that people experience divorce and they have a fear of it, and you still said no,
No,
and then now you just came back around and said people fear divorce. It just you were so hell bent on knocking the shit down that you wasn't even listening, and then you came back and said exactly what I said. That's all I'm saying.
He moved the
Okay,
goalpost.
great, man. You know what? I lost my perfect card and shit.
Oh my God!
I lost my perfect card. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm traumatized.
That's why it's been a problem, because you fear divorce, yet you have all the control in the relationship, so it doesn't lead to divorce. Like, you know what I mean? It's like men fear divorce, but you're in the relationship, so like you have the power to allow it to not
You should have the power.
divorce.
The young man found a way to fix his marriage before he ruined it. I agree with that.
Yeah, like
Whatever you call it, he said, okay, I discovered something about myself and I'm gonna fix it so I don't lose my woman. I agree with that.
But
and that's what we're saying. Like, that's why hurt men hurt the dating pool. Because if that's what you're going to preach, which I don't necessarily agree with either, Arpain, you know, you're married, you got a beautiful wife, she serves, she does what, you know, we would want women to do in a marriage. You know, like you said, you burn your credits with her and things of that nature. But then it's like, I'll tell men don't get married. Like, to me, that's crazy, but that's your rhetoric. That's what that's you know what you tell men. But if that's what you're telling men, you're adding towards the fear. You're adding towards the trauma that they've already experienced of, oh, Aunt Susie got divorced, my parents got divorced, everybody get divorced. Like, if you want to see a change, be the change, and you are that change, yet you're telling people
I'm not telling men not to get married. I'm not telling men not to get married. I'm saying I think I know why men don't get married.
Yeah, but I heard you say that you wouldn't advise a man to get married before.
If I said that, I'll take that back. But I know, because the question on the floor is that men weren't getting married because of trauma. I'm saying that's not why they're not getting married.
No, but
I never tell a man not to get married.
It's more than one piece to this pie. That's the unique part about it.
I'm just saying, I never told a man not to get married. I never told him that.
It's more than one piece to the pie, man. What you're saying is right out there. What Frank is saying, what everybody's saying is all correct. But there are some guys that have that capacity to move like our pain is speaking of. But we know, based off the statistics, most guys ain't moving in that realm. Most guys are just regular 9-to-5 dudes living in an apartment, got a used car. Most of the women, the same thing. And they are in fear of getting married because they done already heard about how bad it is, and their mama and daddy done divorced and ain't had no family unit together since that time. They're moving in fear, and that traumatic experience has put them in that position. Most men who get to a space, he should be cautious about, I don't know about getting married today because of what I'm seeing. And so all of it's true. Like you said all the time, two things could be right at the same time. But on YouTube, brothers are saying, Malou, dude got to get him to go to work. So he ain't got too much. You know what I'm saying? The women ain't got too much. You got to get them to go to work at 9 to 5. So they're afraid to just get their feelings hurt because they're going to invest. They're going to invest. And right now, a lot of people are protecting their hearts because we worked to get the little that we've had. And to have somebody come in there and just destroy that peace, it could be traumatic. in a crazy way because we're seeing how it happens with the young folk. We're seeing women who've had that traumatic experience. You see how they acting out. And a lot of that stems from a man, whether it was their daddy that they didn't know, uncle that was doing something, or that boyfriend that broke their heart when he was up there pounding their ass, talking about I'm coming through at 2 a.m. The guy they thought they was in a relationship with. So all of it goes hand in hand, especially today. You know, everybody, like it's been said, everybody rich on YouTube. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? So everybody got something to lose, but ain't none of us got nothing to lose for real. So
I'm with you guys, man.
Hey, look,
I hear you. I just,
and not this ain't, and this is just in general. This ain't to nobody. This is just in general, not to nobody specific. All I was gonna say at the end is that the crazy part about it is so many people out here, you like, and you know what I'm saying. I'm sure it was me at one point in time too, out here living in fear, not wanting to be married, not wanting to get married, not understanding that is a part of us having generational wealth. That's a part of us even being on the way to it. You know what I'm saying? And right now in this economy, you almost need two incomes. You almost need that. You know what I'm saying? Now, especially if you're not making over, significantly over 100K. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's people out here making 100K still living paycheck to paycheck. Like, we just got to be honest about it. Like, most people need the other person. But I think right now, what happens on YouTube a lot of times is we fearmonger on both sides. Yo, women this, women that, women this, and then you got dudes out here like, well, yeah, fuck women. Like, bro, you broke too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you pulling up to the club, your tail light busted. You know what I'm saying? You should have got that shit fixed, 6 months ago, but you still trying to save up the money to get it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same on the opposite side. She broke too. Back window broke out. She got a trash bag in the back. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. We all going through the same shit, but people don't want to be married. People don't even want to try like that. And that's the part that we gotta to figure out. That's the part.
I'll leave it to you guys. I don't envy you. I think men want to be married more than women, but they both don't want to be married. I think this levels.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think it comes from, as we said, we don't. I say it all the time. We don't trust each other. The reason why we don't trust each other is because we're afraid. The reason why we're afraid is because all of the trauma, and the reason why we have trauma is because people don't understand the word. No, I'm just joking.
People don't want to downright address it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Usually, like the truth seeker in the family is the disruptor, right? Like they're disrupting, they bringing up all this stuff, and they want to talk about their feelings, and it's like, well, somebody needs to, because y'all been living with it for years and giving people the cold shoulder, living in fear, throwing your anxieties on other people. And if you just were confident in who you are and admit that you got some stuff with you and that you're working on it, then you would be fine. You would be like a normal person. But people think normal is hiding what's really going on. People think normal is not talking about what's really going on. And then they throw the excuses of, well, I don't want to lose everything that I have. And it's like, well, you can't take it with you in death. And then when you are with someone, it's not always about you combining your money and combine it with her money. You're supposed to be with someone that can help you build your empire. So what skills do she have? Where can she help you shine? Where can she alleviate some things off your plate so you're not stressed about it all the time? Like, everybody's always talking, men are always talking about, oh, well, I'm gonna lose everything. Well, if you build everything by yourself, yes, you could still lose it all by yourself. You don't have to get married to do that.
Yeah.
You just have a higher chance of guarding what you have. But at the end of the day, if you truly love someone, then you're going to seek out the things that's going to actually help you keep your fortune.
And to your point, Precious, in getting it, a lot of times men get it because they have somebody who can keep them from getting distracted by those who are attracted to those while they're getting it. So the point is, and then when they do receive it, they forget that this person helped them get it. And the laws that we're talking about that many men are afraid of are absent of the fact of that helped him, even whether it's an athlete who was dealing with the high school sweetheart, so he didn't get distracted by all the girls who wanted to get, and he was able to soar by devoting that time to his skill and craft. He doesn't lend any credence to that woman who helped him be able to allot that time, not being distracted in the other places where many of us men get distracted. And then when he gets it, he's like, "Oh, you ain't have nothing to do with it." But actually, she might have, because she actually helped you not have to go to those distractions, and where you were able to practice more and get your stress off, as we were saying earlier. And but yet that's not valuable to you because you was out there practicing all the time, not realizing that the distraction that she blocked you from was beneficial to your growth, which hence why the helpmeet is often necessary, and why the Lord designed the helpmeet, in my opinion.
All right, we're gonna move on. But I don't know. We might be back at this square. I don't know. I don't know. Let's play this video and we'll see where we're at.
Listening and really taking note of what you guys are doing. You are just showcasing and putting your wife on a pedestal. Willie's talking about his Valentine and talking about love and going the extra mile. These are beautiful examples of grown men who are handling their business. Shout out to both of you.
I just got here, though, Sheila Bill. Let me Let me just not say I was so inconsistent for a lot of years going through trauma.
Okay.
But I want ladies to know that in an instant, a man can come to himself. I came to myself in an instant.
How long did it take? Oh my goodness! How long did it take? Because some women have been with men, like...
Some people it may be a week.
Grow up!
Some people it may be a year or so. But I think it's just something in men, they have the innate ability to cut the faucet off and cut it on. So for me, in the last 2-3 weeks, I was like, I know what I want. And once I understood that, I realized what I had. A lot of women do not know is that a man sometimes isn't clear on his vision. And so if he doesn't have clarity, he can't even see the beautiful person that you are. So you just got to make sure that you're like, man, do you have a vision for what you want? Most women come in and say, where do you see me? It's like, I don't even see myself yet. I went through hell. I went through uncoupling. I went through financial issues. It took me a while to get back out of debt. Churches weren't calling Willie. I was preaching all around the world, but you go through some unique situations, they don't call. You had to do a pivot. Then God gave podcasts, and from podcasts he gave Fox, and from Fox he gave merchandise, and then he gave investments. And I'm not saying it to impress you, but at a press point, like when a man pockets ain't right and he don't know where he going.
That's true.
He can't even see the beauty that you have. And so for me, once I got aligned, I realized who I was. Then I started to see like who's really here for me. And then it was like a veil came from over my eyes. And I said, you are the person who stood by my side. And from this moment on, I will do my best to serve you for the rest of my days.
All right. Do you guys think that men have the innate turn it on, turn it off, like he was describing in the video? Meaning, I don't have my vision, now I have my vision now, and so now it's clear.
I think that vision he was talking about was the accolades and achievements, that money that he didn't have, and that actually is a lot of men's mentality. And I call it superficial because a lot of men, like women, they when they succeed and have success, that becomes who they are. And unfortunately, before that, they didn't. That's why they were lost. They couldn't find themselves because they didn't have the accolades that now they're able to have been able to achieve. And so, to me, I look at people like that, pastors, and I'm like, yo, you're still you're lending to the whole point of superficialness, and your character isn't what led that. It's the fact that now you have all of these things, and now it's drawing the attention. And now the reason why you are conceding is because you're confused. Because when you do have a lot, you don't know what people want you for. So that person who was there before you had it is the reason why you cleave to them now. It ain't just epiphany. It's because now you're afraid because everybody coming at you and you don't know who to trust. And now that that person's there, you're like, oh man, no, you've been there, so I'm gonna now lend it to you. You should have did that from the start.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
you really do that when you don't have a clear vision for your life. Like, can you really say you're going to settle down with someone when you don't necessarily know where you're going? And not necessarily accolades are concerned, but men always say, like, when people ask a man, when are you having kids? He's like, he'll say, when I'm financially set, right? When I have the money to do it. And most men are like that. Like he said, when y'all don't have no money in your pockets, then it's it gets a little stressful, it gets a little tight. So, like, do you think that it's because the vision is not necessarily clear enough for him and what he's doing in his life, his occupation, maybe his source of income? Sean left.
Yeah. So you asking anybody?
Yeah, anybody can answer it. His vision. When a man don't have his vision together, can't that be a huge hindrance to him?
Well, he was in a relationship with her, though, right? It sounded like he was whoever that woman he's talking about. When he had the so-called trauma and he didn't have all his things together, but he was working on a plan. That woman was there. Now, he didn't really go through what kind of life it was like for her while he was trying to make his way. But once he said he made his way, he started bringing in some bread. Now he had a path forward. Then he looked around, and she was still there. And so whatever I have, I'm giving to her. Now, it sounds like a good story. Some people would tell him that, why you even had a girlfriend if you were still going through all that? There'd be some men saying that. So, because most men need to have a lady around. I think that's true. So I didn't see anything wrong with what he's saying. I think that if you didn't have anything and a woman was with you when you had nothing, she's actually vetted. Depends on what kind of whatever situation she was holding him down while he was working on that. She's vetted. So I think it was easy for him to say, okay, you're still here, and now I can really pull us out of the mud, and I'm taking you with me. I don't have any problem with what he said there. I really don't.
I will say this is it's not even just about the financial part. It's not just about the financial part. It's not so just to add another dynamic. It's also about a lot of times what happens is you be with a woman for a long time, you put her through a whole bunch of shit, and because you put her through a whole bunch of shit, you like she stuck through it. Like, we know that there's dudes out there like that. We know that there's couples out there like that have been back and forth. They broke up broke up for a year, came back together, broke up for 6 more months,
He
came
had a
back
baby
together.
on her and everything.
You know what I'm saying? Then, like, everything, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, or she didn't have a baby. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. Sometimes it's not about the finances. No, you didn't. Obviously, you didn't have the vision if y'all guys were going through that. So yes, that's definitely a factor. But you know what I'm saying? You can't lead the family through through inconsistency, and you can't do it without knowing where you want to go. So, like, if you just winging it, you feel me, and you just like, well, shit, okay, hopefully it's gonna happen one day. Okay, well, maybe we might get here, maybe we might not. Like, nah, like, once you figure shit out, get your shit together, and sometimes, yes, it takes a man to actually be able to take care of himself comfortably, for him to be able to be like, damn, like, you know what, I put in this work, I see what it took for me to get to where I want to get. Now, like, I need my, I want my wife, I want my girl. Like, we gonna do this together, whatever the case may be. And you're like, bro, I see where I want to go because of the hard work that I just had to put in to get to where I wanted to go. Like, now I can see where I want my family to be now. And before that, sometimes it's infidelity, sometimes it's stupid ass arguments, sometimes it's just back and forth. Y'all done been through so much shit, and you hear people say all the time, well, we've been together for so long, we might as well. Like, and I, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all didn't heard that. And sometimes that is literally just because all of the bullshit that y'all put each other through, and then y'all like, you know what? Fuck it. We gonna go ahead and just make this shit right. Let's go ahead and do it. And then they get married. That a lot of times that be the case.
I mean, it's funny how what y'all say, it seems millions of miles apart, but it's all a part of the puzzle of, from what I heard with this guy. I assume that based on what I heard that he's preaching, right? So a preacher, man, listen, you get a chance to come into a whole lot of money. A lot of guys don't understand, their purpose, because a lot of us just come out moving, like Frank said, we just la-di-da-di-da. And then when you get to a point in life, everybody's light bulb switches on at different times in their life. So he had a woman, he seemed like he was cocky about the things that not that he has achieved, but what he has accomplished. I got some money, I can move, I can do. He said he spoke about all of that. Now, as I related to myself, I've always wanted to be prideful in my achievements, like, going to college, joining the military, getting certificates, getting things that I know I had to put in the work in. It wasn't about, oh, I did all this now and I got the money, but having a woman in that capacity, what I'm saying? Like our pain, I look at his example, like that's where I want to be, because having that woman who's been with you through thick and thin when we was, I don't know if y'all want to look at some crazy stuff. Go look at the Huxtables when Cliff's oldest daughter got married to Alvin, and they were living in an old round shack apartment, and they loved it, and they didn't want anything from mom and daddy. So be able to start from her and knowing that, but a man, even though he may not understand his purpose, he just has to live righteous and abide by his marriage righteously. If he abide by his marriage, then those things could eventually come to fruition. But if he's living reckless, or the wife is living reckless in that home, you'll never have your vision. You'll never come up on the vision. But the fact that he's been through that, now he see like she ain't left me, you know what I'm saying, and she's been there, so he can come with that, I'll give you everything for the rest of my life. But a lot of people are just afraid to get to that point because they've been talking about how bad it is since they were kids. They never seen examples of, you go to the family reunion in the last 30 years, you see mostly single women. Couple of slow ass kids out there, they over smoking weed. Then the uncles, they over sagging, smoking weed in front of the kids. Or, they see, so they can't see that vision early. That's the problem. A lot of people can't see the vision early because when I was a kid, most of my friends lived in the projects. That's where I started remembering, understanding that I'm tough. We started, and then as we moved out, because my father and mother were married, and a lot of guys that stayed, their vision was to get out of the projects. Their vision was like, I ain't gonna be here when I go. And most of them, when they graduated high school, they started working. They wanted to buy homes. They had a vision like, I want better. They wasn't focusing on the man, and the man wasn't focusing on the women. They wanted the better for themselves. So when they got to a certain space, I think every young man and young woman needs an opportunity to sort of separate from what they're comfortable with. Give yourself a few years. That's why people in the military, for the most part, they do well, because they get away from their BS and take on a whole nother. When you go back and see that shit after a year, 6 months, you're like, I ain't coming back to this shit.
Hey Ferg, bro, listen, you so right, bro. I agree with you, man. Because when I first got to Carson, bro, and I used to go back home, I used to be like, damn, I grew up in this.
Yes,
like, you know what I'm saying?
I survived this shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't really understand it until you leave it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You be like, damn, bro, I really like it was really crackheads in
made
the
it.
alley.
Yes,
Like,
I made it.
you know what I'm saying? You don't
Yes.
get it, but once you
Stuff
get out
that
of
you
it,
were so
like,
comfortable
damn.
seeing, and you wasn't even. It was just like a part of your everyday being. Like
Right.
you ain't see it, and that's listen. That's not in just one part of the country. No matter where you live at, a lot of young brothers and a lot of young sisters who stay in that comfortable 10-block radius all of their lives, a lot of them get to it. They like that little example of the fleas in the jar. They don't jump out of that jar because that's all they comfortable with. And it hurts. It brings more trauma because you're seeing the same type of trauma with the people you know and love the most, inducing that trauma on you. So man, go see the world, young folk. Go see the world. That's all I can say. Don't get caught up in what your cousin them went through. Go see the world because the world is bigger than your neighborhood. It gives you a lot of perspective about life. So
yeah, and just for men in general, like it's it's written that y'all should get out of your mother and father's house and
explore.
go explore, go see what you like and what you don't like, what you want to embark on and what you're going to stay away from. There are just men who don't do that. They stay within that 10-mile radius of their home, and there's no way that he can really know for sure on a larger scale what he likes and what he don't like. He just know what he used to. And when you know what you're used to, that's where that comfortability comes in, and you have to go get uncomfortable. You have to go soil your raw oats, as they say. But it's not necessarily making children. Is y'all, I mean, I know y'all be dropping seeds, but that ain't the only seed that you have to drop out here in this world, right? Like you go to another city or state and see that there's an issue and be the person who solves that issue or contributes to solving the issue and things of that nature. But that takes you leaving. It takes you literally leaving what leaving your parents' home and going and doing that on your own and exploring that on your own. And some men just don't do that. They really don't.
Well, it's an opportunity thing too. Listen, one of the things I learned is that when you have too many degrees of freedom, that's when the trouble starts. Right. So this, I understand as we expanded with technology and stuff, that your neighborhood now is a whole lot larger. It's not just who's around you. But with that comes that those degrees of freedom come with a lot of good and bad. So your discernment levels have to go up a lot sooner, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong if you found somebody in your 20 block radius to fall in love with without knowing what's out there. One of the things in the past that not me, but the whole thing for a man who wanted a virgin, which is really not existing anymore. So I'm just using this as an example. The reason why he wanted a woman like that is because her degrees of freedom was limited. That he would be the only man that she knew. Right. And a lot of women agree with that. They didn't need to know penis sizes and techniques and all that other kind of stuff. They learned that with their husbands. And if the guy was a good guy, that was good enough for them. And for guys too. Again, most men ain't Casanovas. Most men didn't have a whole lot of sexual partners. They would have been fine. We got one on BMU's network. The only woman he knew, that's what he said, and the only man she knows is his wife. He didn't have sex with nobody else. And his wife was a virgin. So they got that kind of relationship. And he talks about it freely. So I'm not saying anything about it. That's a unique unicorn situation. But they seem to be very happy in their life. You know what I'm saying? So there's no real flex for having a lot of partners, one way or the other, men or women. Really, it's not. It's where your head's at.
Yeah, when I say go and explore and see what you like, I don't mean women.
No, hold on. I hear you. So I'm not casting aspersions, but most people, when they not just you, but most people for men and most people for women, when they say go out there and see what you like, if they're young, you can't really just if you're not specific, you can't dissociate the sex part from that. You just can't.
So
you
the
know,
thing,
there's no way you can do it for a man or a woman.
Well,
Because when women
here shouldn't be the vision. The
Right.
vision is
I'm just saying that when a young man or a young woman, this is where I think it's equivalent. When they're told to explore their 20s, to explore experiences, I think sometimes even if the person's saying it doesn't mean it, it's a part of it. It's just a part of it. They're not going to just go out there and just make friends and shaking hands. The guys are going to try to smash on women, and the women are going to try to have some experiences as well. It's just way. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but that's what they hear.
But
You can't deny that.
But this is the problem with us, though. To me, this is sometimes I see, right?
What's
But what I'm saying, people, listen. Everybody's smart on YouTube. Why is it a problem for the? But what I'm saying is because to your point, I'm paying, and to Brad's point, what I'm trying to make the connection is that if I use my son. I tell him go see the world, go explore, but I also tell him he better be responsible for his penis.
But you're not talking. Well, yeah, but he's still.
But what I'm saying, but I'm not telling him not to. I'm telling him be responsible.
The point really is the only point I'm making is again, a man, even if he's disciplined, a man who has let's just say he has a lot of partners because he might be handsome and all that. I'm just telling you. That a man with a lot of partners and a woman with a lot of partners, it doesn't hit the same. It's not equivalent. So when women hear that, they hear the same thing as the man hears. You could tell them, protect yourself, don't get pregnant, and all that kind of good stuff. But if they're out there smashing, now we want to talk about trauma, you're talking about trauma there. So I'm saying, what's the message that we're sending them? What's the real message?
But here's the problem.
Get out of your parents' house, get out of your comfort zone, and go see and go make yourself a man. And that doesn't mean sex. It means what do you and sex is going to be a part of it, but at the end of the day,
the biggest part of it.
But I believe fathers. I believe if fathers are able to give the message,
because you're opening a window to somebody else. You can't just say go look at the skyscrapers and read a few books and go through a few museums. The biggest traumatizing thing a person does is open a sexual window with another person.
But they open the sexual window up in their communities. These people are coming out of their
whether it's in the community or not. I'm just saying.
I'm saying when I talk about that. But when I speak of it, I'm just saying, even joining the military gives you a different perspective. And you know what I'm saying? I'm saying to be on your purpose, you have to, and this is where I look at it. I was more caught up in my skills than going out seeing about women. It's about you have to find something like your purpose. Your purpose.
I agree with that. So you wasn't banging them out as often as you could.
I could do both.
No,
I could. But what I'm saying is, I would still say you have to be responsible. You can't. There's no way. I would not tell a 25-year-old the strongest he can lift cars. He got testosterone. He's bench pressing 300 pounds. He look ugly. He's half decent. He's taking care of his business. And there's no way I can tell him to say, man, don't do none of that. I'm saying you have to be responsible, and that's what. And the difference is, the messenger. When it comes to a young man and young women, the greatest messenger for any of them is the father, because any man with children will give their daughter the specifics of the message and say, "Don't you move like that," and she will hone in on that, and she'll carry that. Even the man, even the boy, would do that. But we don't get that in our community. We get a lot of the wrong message. Go out there and live your best life. What is my best life? Girl, you'll figure it out. Boy, you'll figure it out. Instead of saying, listen, these are consequences if you go out here and do this. These are benefits if you do this. You make your choice now.
The one thing I will say is, and I hear what you're saying, Arpain. about a whole bunch of experiences as a man or whatever the case may, or a woman. I hear what you're saying, and I heard you say about the whoever that is on the BMU platform. That is very rare.
Very rare.
They're very rare, and as much as, so let's just say, like, as much as as much as you tell your son, if you told your son 1,000 times, listen, don't go out here, go out here, live life, but don't be out here wilding out. Don't be out here having sex like that. Don't be, when he hear women saying, well, I'm just saying, but when he hear women saying we want a man with experience, like we want a man with experience, then his whole dynamic is gonna shift. I'm just like, what I'm saying? All we can really do is prepare them, right? You can guide them, make sure because because when they get out there and they hear, and I'm not saying that, and even now, like, what I'm saying, there are some women who be married and they were married to their high school sweetheart, and they hear their friends. That's why single women keep women single. You know what I'm saying? They hear they single friends talking about how Mitch got a 11-inch sub, and you know what I'm saying, he got a 10-inch sub and he be spinning her on it, like, you know what I'm saying, she be like, hold up, would y'all be really getting that? Y'all be really doing that? Hold up. But and that's why a lot of times, I mean, I don't know the statistic, but a lot of times, like the high school sweethearts, when they get older and they hear other people's experiences, they start to wonder and get curious about why or how come they didn't experience those things when they were younger. But I'm just saying, when a guy gets out there too, as soon as you get out there and you hear women saying, like, man, I need a guy who's experienced. Oh, if he a virgin, I ain't taking him. Or the first thing you think as a dude is like, damn, like, all right, well, I gotta get some experience. You know what I'm saying? So I think the one thing that you can do is make sure that, you are doing make sure your kids, your son, or you try to make sure that they're moving the right way, like that. You know what I'm saying?
Protect yourself at all times. I mean, that's all it really is.
Yeah.
But I mean, just going back to the video, I didn't see anything. I thought the guy was just a typical guy who had a girl, and when he made it, he kept her. Where some guys might want to level up, he kept the woman who was with him. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Me either.
No, shit.
I like how he corrected the radio host, though, because she was, giving him praise for him giving praise to his wife, and he like, look, I wasn't always like that. I wasn't, it took me, he said a couple weeks ago. I don't know when that video came out. So he, and Willie Mo Jr. is definitely, I would say, mid-30s, early 40s. And so it took him a while. And so that's the point. The point is, it took them a while. And it usually does take men a while because they'll have their vision. They might get sidetracked. They might have these side relationships where a woman comes in and now he's distracted and, he's not hell bent on his vision. And some things get in the way. He's not clear. He's not making the money that he wants to make. He's not on the career path that he wants to be on. And it takes him a while to get there. And a lot of men don't admit, like, hey, I was that dude that wasn't consistent. I was that dude that was not, pouring what I needed to pour into my relationship. And because of that, I am now at this age just realizing that. And a lot of people, they say that women mature faster than men. They say men don't mature until they're in their, 30s, 40s, and things
it's
of that.
only by body.
But that's not always true either. You have grown women,
I don't believe that anymore,
who don't come to these realizations, and they still walking around in this world,
like teenagers.
Right. And they're, handling things like teenagers, going about things like teenagers, not being vocal, not being able to express their feelings and things of that nature. So I think that's the biggest thing that I pulled away from that video was like, hey, yeah, I gave my wife some props and things of that nature, but I wasn't always him.
The one thing I will say, what I agree with you on that, Precious, and the other thing is that though I do agree with him that sometimes it's like a switch. And it like you could be chilling, doing your thing. You could be wilding, you could be whatever. And sometimes all it takes is a woman to say not so much the right things, like as in the wrong way. I'm not saying like the right things in the wrong way, but a woman who come into your life and speak life into you, a woman who come into your life and see you for you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there are women out there who also will accept a man for his flaws. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she will be like, listen, we gonna get through this shit together. And boom. And sometimes that's all it takes. You get that, and it's like, fuck this. Like, this is her. And you and I've seen it. I've seen my partners be wilding out, doing all this shit, and then meet a girl, and it seemed like she just a jump from the outside, and the next thing you know, my partner's happily married. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
For
so
years.
did you ever have a switch? I agree with the switch too.
Yeah,
it happened to me.
Yeah, I agree with. I had to switch, but my switch was mentally, because
you don't have to go into the details.
because no, just because I'm saying because I was single, so but like hearing and seeing the things, like I'm like, damn, like here actually seeing examples of people who are happily married, and people who have the things, or like I see them moving the way that they say that they're moving, and leading their family the way that they say that they're leading their family, and things like that. I seen it, and then I'm like, damn, like I want that for my daughter. Like I want my daughter to wake up and be like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? Be like, dang, my pops found his wife. Like, and when she go through life, as she continue to grow older as a young lady, she can be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my pops, he met this woman. She, you know what I'm saying? They do what they got to do for each other. They have a duty to each other. And now my pops has been married for the last 20 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing that I want. That's the kind of, representation I want to give to my daughter.
I know, but I understand the switch, because I had a switch. I was single. I was in college.
Got you.
I was still in college, though. But I was.
I was
thinking about, huh?
No, I was just saying.
I was just saying that, because when I had a frat, we were like, shit, man, we just ran the yard, man. You know what I'm saying? And with that comes with the girls and stuff. And I had this situation. All I know is I was just buck wilding, man, and then it hit me. It just hit me.
You was on the hub. That's what.
But I was just
on the hub, man.
Let me just say this, because I was like a junior. I mean, in one of the toughest curriculums I had. So, man, what am I doing? I mean, I said to myself one night, I said, what am I doing? I'm compromising everything that I'm working for over this thing, right? Because I was just out of control. And I said, and then after that, I had to put down a reefer. I had to put down the weed. I had to put
on your Obama stuff.
Turkey. It was like cold turkey. I mean, it was like cold turkey. It just kind of changed, because if I'll let you go, Ferg. I mean, if the situation I was in would have got out, it would have been traumatic, not only for me, but it would have been worse for the lady.
But our parents, listen.
What the hell? Go ahead, man.
Your time, man. The women that time, man, they wasn't just out here loose with it. You was gonna have to still put in work everywhere you went. You didn't see no cheeks and no breasts and all that, man, walking around like that. You would have had to put in work still. Now
No,
I was that guy. I was that guy.
Campus was a little bit different, man.
Granny Penny was in back in the day.
Listen, you know what? It didn't take me anything to get a woman to show me her titties.
But see, you missed the point. You missed the point. Listen,
He is a
once you
cute.
got her to that space, yes, now you don't have to get her to that space. You can see it at Walmart, Kroger's. You can see it.
No, I hear you.
Hey,
Just go
I
back
was
into
that
the
guy though.
dinosaur eras when women was doing.
No, but I'm just saying, I mean, come on now.
hey,
I was him. I was this guy before I met my
Coach
wife.
I'm
Bird.
not even. I'm not
Our
even like
pay was
you,
out there.
like you.
Our pay was out
Work
there
for everything
barking
I
at
had.
women on campus, man.
Yeah,
You
that's
gotta
what it
remember
was.
that.
That bark
He
got
was
us.
barking at women on campus. It's just a dog get made.
Yeah, that's who it was. You right about that. He was coming out stepping. He had on his stepping outfit every day.
He came outside every day in his gold boots.
Yeah, stepping.
He gonna choose me, goddammit.
I was this guy though. I
Did you
was this
get
guy
branded
before me.
R-Pain? Do you have?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me tell you this. It's so funny because my chapter's up there, and I was hanging out with the young brother just last year, and he didn't know this because it was a long time ago. I had put a moratorium on branded. I told the guys, you can't get no more brands. On our whole campus, because we had a city-wide chapter, intermediate chapter, so all the schools could get pledged under our chapter.
Yeah, that's my chapter.
I put a moratorium. I said, if you don't get a brand, you couldn't get a brand when you went over. So, but if you got a year later or something like that, when your head was clear, cool. But right after, they could have told me to jump off a roof. Right after, right after I went over, they could have told me to do anything, man. So your head was
you and Neo, yeah.
I put them on, and the young brother said, oh, it was you who put that in there. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, it was me. I said, it was funny seeing a guy like 20, 30 years later with a rule I put in that still is enforced. You know what I'm saying? So it was really crazy to see that.
But that's the thing, I paid that you didn't have as many distractions as young men have today. You could think forward like that. You didn't really recognize the impact, but you didn't come into this space, your young man space with a lot of trauma based off the women that you've experienced. You know what I'm saying? So it was a cleaner slate. Today, again, a lot of dudes are coming into the field with trauma-induced situations in their life. And a lot of it's still from being home. It ain't even about having a girlfriend relationship.
Okay.
It's about what they experience in their own home from their own family members, the females that they deal with.
That's true.
They see it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's where sometimes the issues come into play, because I was that guy before I met my wife. I was that guy.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Precious,
I do want to ask you a question. When you finish, Ferg, I want to ask Precious.
Why Sean always moving around, man? One time
he had to go drop off. Hold on, he had to go drop off in White Castles, man. What are you talking about?
I'm on my way from McDonald's.
He had to drop off at
every time Sean
McDonald's.
Hey, bro, Sean
I got 5 of them 5-mile meals, and I got 3 houses to stop by.
Sean always start in the house or in the car, then he in the car, then he in the house, then he in the house.
We know this about Sean. Now this is Sean. Like this ever since Sean been on the panels, he used to be in the car all the time.
Yeah, crack me up.
He used to be in the car all the time.
So
acting like Lamont.
Man, yeah, I'm on my way to my 3rd house right now. Because pimping ain't easy. I crossed the line and I'm about to brand somebody.
There you go.
Dropping off White Castle.
So in terms of kids getting out, I mean, is there one of the things that I thought was, and maybe it's just me, when my kids graduated from college, it was I didn't make them, but I encouraged them to come back home if they didn't have if they weren't married. And all that kind of stuff. Just come back home. The house is big enough for all of us. You got your rooms, right? It's on me, right? I'm not asking them to pay rent. I'm not asking them to do any of that. Just come home. And this way we were able to set them up economically, investments and stuff like that. And I could at least monitor what they were doing, because they had to tell me where they were going, coming and going, right? I didn't make restrictions on whether they can go. I just wanted to know where you at, and that's it worked pretty well for me. My youngest daughter's still with me, but she's 25. The oldest one's out of the house, but I would say I would encourage guys who have sons to do the same thing. It's not just because of women. If they ain't got nothing, if they ain't planting seeds with a real family or married, what the hell? Pay rent for somebody? Get your ass back in the house. You know, follow some rules. You know, we can talk economics and stuff like that. But for me, it was just building a nest egg. You know what? I got admonished from people because I set my girls up to be self-sufficient.
But our pain, this is the
hold
dynamic.
on, wait, it's not. But what I'm saying is because a lot of guys think if you make them halfway desperate, they'll be looking for men to marry, and I don't agree with that. I just think that, you know, in this environment, of course, they got to marry the right guy. But I don't want them, just in case, especially in the Black community, when only 1 in 4 women ever get married. I'm not leaving my girls out there. I want them to be self-sufficient. If shit happens and they find the right guy, and after we sign their prenup, you know, then, you know, okay, cool. But I want them to be able to handle shit on their own as women. You know, I wanted them not just strong, independent bullshit like a Jasmine Crockett or something. Like they ain't like that. But you know, I just wanted them to be able to handle themselves.
But you
for what you saying?
They handle themselves.
Our pain. Listen.
Well, listen. You handle yourself, right?
You
yeah, but I mean, I ain't in my parents' house and I ain't got to pay no rent. So what? Like, what do you mean?
You're not living home though. You're in your parents' house.
No, that's
well, yeah, but you're not 20 something either,
right? So, but what when you say handle themselves, what do you mean? Like if
they take care of the shit and like know how to pay bills, know how to be on your own, that kind of stuff. Be able to, you know, if you're out there, you got a car, not to get taken by a mechanic and shit like that kind of stuff. I mean, if you have no man around, you got to do it yourself. So I want them to know all that kind of stuff and finances. Mm-hmm. Don't be just because, you know, go be an emotional spender. You know, look at your investments. You know, build your portfolio, that kind of stuff. And while they were here, my oldest daughter's no longer here. She left when she was 30. But I wanted her to be prepared for the world out there, especially if she never gets married.
You know what, Payne? You mentioned that to me before. And I was saying independent. You trained them to be independent. There's a fine line between.
I didn't train them to be independent. I trained them to be self.
You listen. There's a fine line between independence and self-sufficient.
No, actually, there's not.
Self-sufficiency.
It's not. It's not. It's not. You can't tell me how I looked at it. You can tell me how you looked at it. Self-sufficient is one thing. Independent means they don't understand. And interdependent. Don't tell me how I raised my daughter. I don't want to have this conversation.
Can you allow?
I don't. Listen, Sean. I don't want to have this conversation because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So, yo, I don't want to talk about what you think I do with my daughter. Being self-sufficient is not independent. No. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about your interpretation about it, Sean. I don't.
You don't know.
You can't separate what you're going to try to tell me, man. Why don't you just fucking acquiesce for a change, man? I don't want to talk about that with you.
Payne, I ain't asked you to talk about nothing. Matter of fact,
don't be telling me it's a fine fucking line. It's not.
I asked you to be quiet. So if you're going to go on what I asked you, let's go.
I mean, you shouldn't ask me to be quiet. I don't want you to talk about that.
But I did.
Bro, y'all getting away from the conversation, fellas.
Can I jump in? Because to Albane's point is this. He is the father of his children. He is going to always give them the best possible advice for them to have the greatest outcome. Most people are not getting this type of information. That's the problem. Most people are not getting this information. Most people are passing on their dumbass decision making to their kids, to the younger people.
You're right.
He's telling them, he's keeping them under his covering, as it should be.
It's my point, because neither one of y'all listen, because y'all didn't let me finish. What I said is I agree with that. He said it before. This is something that he said, and I said he said I said you was raising them to be independent, and he corrected me. He said no, I'm raising them to be self-sufficient, and I said, you know what? You're right. I understand that. The point that I was making is there's a fine line between self-sufficiency and independence. That's the only point I was making before I was interrupted. Now, do you disagree with that?
Yes, I do.
So then explain it.
I do. I do. I mean, because first of all, self-sufficiency and independence have different meanings if you look it up. Trying to raise somebody to be independent means that they don't need anybody. That's not true. Self-sufficiency means that if you happen to end up by yourself, right, you can take care of yourself. I think there's a big difference between those two things. It's a mindset. My girls are marriage minded, but until that shit happens, they gotta survive out there. And they welcome my covering because they understand that at some point you're gonna need a man to cover you. And I had that conversation with my oldest daughter. She said, "Well, why do I really need a man?" I said, "Well, it's not for me to answer. You're the one out there. You want a boy. You want a guy. You're talking to somebody. You tell me why you need him. I'm not going to answer that for you. You tell me why you actually need this guy you're talking to. That's the things you need to work out. But the fact that you actually are actively looking for a dude, it's up to you. I mean, because you obviously need something from that guy to be around. We're not talking about casual relationship either. So I'm not going to give you my interpretation. I want you to give me why you're pursuing that guy. He's pursuing you and you are entertaining, having a courtship. So that's not for me to answer for you. That's it, so that was my response to her. And she said, that makes sense. Right. So, but if she never got married, my daughters never get married, they're not going to be some of these old ladies out there not knowing how to handle shit on their own. Right. Because in the Black community, I'm only putting the shield up. Right. The statistics say only 1 in 4 Black women get married. And I don't want them to be alone when they get older. I can't get married for them. So if they don't know how to balance their money, they don't know how to invest, they don't know how to do this and that, that's just my fault. So I think anybody out there who have daughters, this whole notion that somebody's going to scarf them up and get married in the Black community, that's just not true. It's just reality is not true. So they got to be self-sufficient to know how to take care of themselves.
And,
so you put them through some certain tests, and that I want them to be married. I want grandchildren. Shit. So I just don't want them to be butt naked out to the world because I didn't do my job.
Right. And Peg, what I'm saying is I learned that from you. Because I too was doing the same thing you're doing. And when you brought it to my point, because I thought it was independence when I started listening to my self-talk. But then when you brought it to my point that it was just being self-sufficient, I was like, yeah. But I also recognize that there's that fine line between the two.
Okay, Sean, listen, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Independence, though, has a connotation. We all know what that means because when we hear Black women say it, we know exactly what it means.
Yeah, independence is taught from, more women who are independent probably were taught by single moms.
Right.
Whereas if you have a mother and a father in a home, then the mother and the father in the home is going to teach you how to be self-sufficient. The father, like Arpain is doing, is still covering his daughters. And so when a man, presents himself, she then knows how to, respect him. She knows how to, express her feelings to him. Like she just knows how to interact with the man, knowing that he is needed in her life, as opposed to an independent woman who says, well, I don't need a man. I can do everything on my own. A self-sufficient woman says, I do things on my own because that's my status and that's what I have to do at this point. But if a man was to come along, I would know how to, submit to him and his leadership because I already have someone that's doing that in my life.
I agree.
Thank you.
The reason why I use the word, why I said define line, is simply what the example you just gave, Arpain, where she questioned, why do I need a man? And you gave a great answer to it, But that's part of why I said there's a fine line, because although you was teaching efficiency, and self efficiency, it can sometimes be mistaken to.
I agree. I agree with you. And thank God I was there for her to ask that question. That's why I have dinner with my girls, man.
And
You know, I
again,
have, man. We talk about these kind of things, man. You know, I mean, you know, breaking bread and talking, and these conversations come up. You can get a lot of stuff out when over a meal, you know,
but
and
again,
it's a relaxed environment. So yeah, that you're right on that point, Sean. I put the fine line on it because it took me a second because I was going to try to go down a list of why she needed a man, and I said, you know, wait a minute, you're the one out there, Dave. You tell me why you need to do. You know, why you even think about it?
It's almost the same reason why you need a father. I mean, I don't.
yes,
It's the same
yes,
why you need a father. You need that
yes,
covering. Period.
Right,
yes,
You know, it don't have to be a long list of why you need a man.
right.
yes,
Covering alone is it
yes,
covers the multitude of a lot of things that he's there for.
yes,
It's not just a covering financially, but it's
Absolutely.
a covering
emotionally, cover that
ability,
Everything.
damn emotions.
emotionally, spiritually, all of that. So a
Right.
covering, a woman who is covered is just, you know, I believe her nervous system is probably a lot better than a woman who is not covered.
Correct. And
Her
that's why I
nervous,
say,
a
yeah.
covered woman's nervous system is just not going haywire like a woman who is not covered.
And that's why I say, I'm
Father
sorry.
regulates that. A father is the first person to regulate that nervous system. A woman who is raising a child on her own and the father is nowhere to be found, that's going to be the independent woman who has a nervous system that can't be regulated. She's going to be anxious. She's going to be, you know, angry all the time. She's not going to know how to talk to men. She's not going to know how to even receive help. Like those are the things that's why, you know, it's needed. And you not explaining it to her, our pain is genius, because it's like some things are caught and some things are taught. So you being that covering is something that she is catching, but indirectly you're teaching that to her too. So the words don't have to be there as long as you're showing up, as long as you're having those dinners, as long as you're communicating with them. But in due time, when she meets that right man, she's going to know why she needs him. You know, yes, women need men, but we only need one. And you're going to know why you need that specific one. That's nothing that you can, you know, you're going to be able to tell her other than you need a covering. I need to pass this covering on to somebody else. So like you said, that's nothing that you have to, you know, explain to her. That's something that she comes to you and says, Dad, like he really covers me. I feel like, you know, if I married this man, the as calm as my nervous system is when you cover me is the same way it is with him. And it just passes right along with no, you know, there are going to be bumps in the road and nothing's perfect.
Of course.
Today she's going to know how to cohabitate and coincide with this man, because she's already had that in her life.
I hope that's the way it ends up. So, you know,
And for the record, it seems like
and if it doesn't, I hope she, you know, I don't, you know, I don't know your daughters personally,
yeah.
but if it doesn't, you know, there is no bitterness there. With independent women, if they don't end up with a man, there's bitterness. There's, you know, but the bitterness is self-inflicted because you never allowed a man to be a man in your life in the first place. Right. Whereas if your daughters don't find, or if a man don't find your daughters, I don't think there will be any bitterness there. You know what I mean? There won't be a bad taste in their mouth from men because they're covered.
Yes, so, you know, maybe they'll keep me alive till I'm 100. I don't know.
No, they will.
and for the record, Pain, I challenge you often.
Yeah, man, I apologize. Man. Don't worry about it, man. Everything's cool, man.
I really admire a lot of things that you do, from
everything's cool, man. I went off the, you know,
wife.
I went off the handle a little bit, man. I'm with you. No apologies needed, man. I'm sorry.
But no. This is the unique thing that is missing in the whole pieces of what we talk about. Our praying brings a great balance to his family, to his children. lot of young women don't get these type of messages.
Right.
A lot of men don't get certain messages from a man. And the greatest equalizer is the father. A lot of our issues could change if fathers were allowed more access to their children at a younger age.
I believe that.
It would change a lot of this futuristic issues that we're having today. Because I would hate to see our Payne has young daughters. I have a 21, and they go from 21 to 41 talking about they can't find a good person to be with. That should be detrimental to everybody out here. Because one thing I know they ain't gonna stop doing is having sex. They ain't gonna stop having sex. So I don't know, the more I hear, certain things, but again, I think this is a great time for men to sort of flip their script.
I think there's a resurgence for men.
This is the greatest time.
I agree with you. I think
so.
Agree. And what I was saying
is going to be the greatest time for women when men start standing 10 tones down on shit, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I admire in reference to that you do. That sitting down with your family every Sunday is admirable. And I like to hear more of that when we're speaking with you, because you lend a perspective, as Coach Ferg just said, that a lot of women need to hear, but as well, a lot of men need to hear it. And that's the portions of things that you offer to gentlemen, even myself. Like I said, you taught me what I was saying as far as understanding it to be self-sufficient versus independent. And I took heed to that, and I've used it since. And the point being is that these are why these conversations are important, so that we can challenge one another and that we can get the best out of it when we do have these conversations.
Well, that's cool. I mean, listen, I knew how to cook when I was in college. I didn't do it as much when I was working because I didn't have the time. But I like to get in the kitchen. I mean, Sunday, I'll do it more often. But everybody's grown, but it brings everybody to the table. So Sunday's always has been a good day to do it. And we kind of eat early in the house. I know, Frank, what's your daughter, like 5? You said you have a daughter, right?
My daughter's 16.
Your daughter's 16? I thought you was younger than that. Oh, man.
Nah, man. Y'all be talking like I'm 20 years old. Y'all be talking like I'm 20 years old, man.
That be our Payne talking to you like that. He don't forget how many times he done said how old you are.
For some reason, I thought she was younger. So, she's
nah, yeah. But I was gonna say, I was gonna say that I definitely agree with covering your kids and things like that. I think just, based off of, and also supporting their decisions. Like my daughter's thinking about going to the Navy, you know what I'm saying? Or the Air Force. So, you know what I'm saying? And if she does that, then she's going to be, of course, like over the time. And another thing too is like me teaching her how to, manage her bank account, do all of those things like that. Got her a bank account as soon as she turned 14, you know what I'm saying? So she could start learning how to, put money in there, save, put money in her savings from her checking, like just learning how to do those things. And her freshman year, she was already taking, business and finance class. So, you know what I'm saying? So they was teaching her about, okay, what a checking account is, how it works, if you get charged, what this is, how, and they,
interest rates.
Yeah. A lot of their, like all of their projects was based around, okay, you move out your parents' house, you make this much money, now you got to balance your money for the month. And I was like, man, this is the perfect time to get you this bank account. Let's rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna add to it, we gonna rock out. But I also think, when you have, I also think the same for your sons. I don't think your son should live with you until they 30. But what I do think is, I think that it would be beneficial for, if you do have a son, for him to start learning how to plan. So if he's still living with you, it's coming up with a plan, whether that's to get a certification, or some certifications, whatever the case. All right, so I'm gonna get my certifications in these next 3 months. Then after that, it's gonna be planning for, looking for employment, whatever the case may be. And then another 4 months out, what I'm saying, I want to save up enough money to have, first and last month's rent and all of that type of stuff like that. I think if your son is starting to learn how to plan and do those things, point his life in the right direction, when he gets out, he's already gonna know. He's already gonna have like some type of structure to where he's like, yo, I gotta plan my shit out. Like I'm getting out on a better foot rather than just kicking your kids out when they're 18.
And it's unfortunate because we see how when young men are growing up in a home with a single mother, once they become a liability, then he's pretty much gonna go. He has no more direction after that. He may live with her, but he's doing nothing productive. He's sort of standing still in quicksand because she's not going to really motivate him to go beyond what he is, because she needs protection too. A lot of women use their sons for protection. Now that they older, they ain't getting no more child support. Even the state don't recognize them once they turn 18. So what is he going to do to earn his keep? So a lot of them go to the streets because they have no vision. They have no plan about their life's direction because they don't have our pain telling them your ass ain't gonna be out there wilding out. They don't have brother Champ Talk saying your ass going to service, you going somewhere, but you ain't going out to them nasty ass streets that you understand, but they don't understand it. They hungry to get out there. And a lot of people say, go ahead, you got to figure life out. But based off the shit that's out there, I would at least try to hold on to it. So if you choose to go out there, they're going to have to suffer some consequence behind it. A lot of times we sort of, well, that's my bad. Yeah. But then when they start jeopardizing your life and your peace, what do? I think we coddle our young adults too much.
Oh, yeah.
And then we say, go be great. Yeah. We coddle them to they 28 now, go be great.
Well,
go find you a mate.
Part of the structure that we have that's consistent is what our pain used as being intentional and what Frank just used as having a plan, and Coach Ferg, of course, you use it as well. But really, they're all kind of synonymous. And the difference is whether you having a plan or having intentions or having the structure are really important. And I think that we don't always hone in on that. And we need to more, and that's what we're doing in a lot of our panels and a lot of these discussions, and what we have learned to do in our families personally. And I think that is very important, and that needs to be more important. Whether your son lives with you at 38, if he has a plan, then that's called interdependency. If he doesn't have a plan, then it becomes he's now relying on you. And there's a difference between the two. And as long as we can identify and hone in on intention, planning, and structure, I think we'll be a lot better off.
Facts. All right, so this last video we're going to get into goes past the dating phase and into marriage. This guy, I believe, is a pastor, but he's talking about being able to be rebuked by his wife, his kids, things of that nature. Sometimes people get into relationships, and especially men, because there is a hierarchy, because there is an order, there are some men who just will not listen or take heed to anything that his spouse has to say. And that can be harmful to relationships. And sometimes men do need to take, a deeper look into things to really see where a woman is coming from. So I'm going to do this and we'll get into it.
But does not honor his wife's voice. I think he sets himself up to be hurt. And I think a man who leads but does not honor his wife's voice, I think he sets himself up to be hurt. My wife is more intuitive than me in some areas. She may be wiser than me in some areas. She may come around people say, I don't like that woman around you. I don't like this thing. They deserve to be sharp. Yeah. Honey, when you said that in the pulpit, you should have said that. You should have. So for me, it looks like early in my marriage, I was aggressive. I was prideful. I was arrogant. I would not listen to my wife or my kids if they tried to rebuke me. I just didn't have the humility to do that. Wow. I've grown now in my 40s to a place of humility where my oldest kids, I got three teenagers and one in college. They can come to me and say, Daddy, when you said this, that hurt me. And I know how to apologize. Or I allow them space to kind of reason a little bit. Like, you're saying this, but this is what we feel. And I've apologized. I allow space for my wife to gently rebuke me and come talk to me. It's like, honey, this is the way you made me feel. You shouldn't have said this. When you act this way, this is what it feels like being on the other side of you when you behave this way. And so I think now for me, I think too many men think it's not manly to acquiesce to when somebody's confronting you in your home. They think it's not manly to do that. I think it shows more masculinity to show humility to say I'm wrong because it's not instinctive. So for me, I'm trying to teach my two sons, real men know how to apologize, right? Men, I teach my sons, real men own they crap. Like when you smell like crap, own that. When you make a mistake, own that. When you fall short, own that. Like real men, we own that. Like I think we are weak when we deflect. That's good. We are weak when we make excuses. We are weak when we can't acknowledge we are wrong. I think it takes more strength to say you're wrong. So I think biblical masculinity is both leading well, loving well, discipling well, but having the humility to say, I made a mistake. I'm wrong. I can course correct.
Wow. So I got to get ready to leave. So I just want to say I agree with him wholeheartedly.
Leaving us again, the abandonment. It's trauma.
But I love you though. I love you all.
Do men find it hard to show humility when being rebuked by their spouse?
No. I agree with what he says as well. I mean, I didn't see any lies told there, man. If you want to listen, that not just if you're married. I mean, what he said was just spot on. It was just spot on. I didn't hear anything he said wrong, and especially if you're teaching it to your kids and stuff like that. I mean, it really doesn't cost you. Just like when I was yelling, and I want to curse Sean out and shit. I mean, it didn't take me anything to say I apologize for my reaction. It didn't. It really doesn't take anything from you. I mean, I don't look at it as a slight to my masculinity. Say I was wrong when I'm wrong. And more men need to be able to do that. That's for sure. But that's also, part of your upbringing and all who you've been around. Now, whether you had a man in your house or not, if you're old enough, you've been around a whole bunch of people so you could learn that. You know what I'm saying? You can't use that excuse forever. Not being able to. So I like what he said.
It's levels to it.
Yeah, I thought he was right. Thought he was spot on. So, like, got no pushback, no nothing. But like,
do you think most men are able to now are paying with you and Sean? That's man to man, but when it comes to a man and a woman, do you think men are able to be humble?
I'll tell you with my wife, though. I gave you a couple of stories with her. Like when I used to curse, we used to argue or go back and forth early in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think to that question, I think that just like the divorce thing that we was talking about, or like that mindset based off of some things that people may hear on YouTube, on the internet. I think that, I'm sure there are a good amount of men out there that think, oh well, my wife know finances better than me, so but she gonna listen to me when it comes to, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? But not even taking her input on it is where you can lead your family down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? So if your wife is an accountant, you know what I'm saying? It would behoove you feel me, to get some of that information from her, rather than be like, well, listen, I'm the man, I'm leading this family, and we're gonna do finances the way that I want to do them. I help people with their finances every day. Like, why wouldn't you get some input from me? Like, and I think that's where, where some men go wrong and they don't understand. Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing if she's, let's just say she's a lawyer and she goes over contracts, and you have a business and you're like, well, I'm trying to get this and I'm trying to get that, but you're like, well, I'm gonna no, baby, don't do it, I'm gonna give my lawyer. Like she's supposed to
That's ass
also,
backwards.
right, she's supposed to help you, right? She's supposed to add value to your life and to the family, and that's just not financially. So if you can't even take her opinion on something, then you're leading your family down the wrong direction and the wrong path.
Very true. That's very true.
The one thing when I heard him say it, listen, and this has always been my understanding of us getting older and wiser. He said, when I got close to 40, most men, that light bulb come on. Even the women, you catch them about 37, they're like, shit, a lot of them lose 200 pounds. They finally stop dealing with Doug Nug. Now they want a dude that's about some shit. But a lot of time for women, it's too late because they gave their best years to the shit that wasn't working. And a man is just getting to that age where he can decipher the BS. Like, I've been caught up, a lot of dudes get caught up in their own way for so long that they miss the blessing. They get caught up in their way. They've been beat up coming out the house. Now it's about me. I ain't trusting nobody. I ain't know how a woman go. I ain't gonna let no woman handle my money. What you talking about? I'm gonna murder. And they get in their own way. And then when you get to that age of wisdom, that light bulb come on. Then I remember when I was in my 40s, I only wanted a smart woman. I like, hell no, I wanted an educated woman with some smart sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a wife I trust her numbers more than I trust the accountant and any of you motherfuckers on YouTube. Y'all can make all the money y'all want. I'm gonna make it with my baby. And like Frank said, listen, we work in the business together. Because if I gotta go out here and be the muscle and put it together and come up with the new way to do it, she gonna make sure all the contracts is straight. She gonna make sure all the money's hitting the account on time. So I think that's the benefit of having that type of woman, but also a man has to sort of be open to that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have to be open to that. Our Payne say it all the time. I started in there, listen, when I go, she's taking care of all her life. And can't none of you little sorry little dudes think you can come over here and just simp that shit out of her. No, because I've had my German Shepherd that don't like no dude that ain't light skinned. But I mean, it just comes with age, and that's why I say a lot of us, before we get to 21 to 41, we done already burnt the damn candle. We done burn it up. We ain't got no light left at 40. But I think for a man, if they can sort of balance that and have their experiences, go through their little heartbreak, get over that shit. Go cry in your pillow, because don't nobody give a damn about your feelings out here in the world. She break your heart, go cry in your feelings, come out like Superman. Come out a little bit more focused, get yourself in better shape, hold on to your money a little bit longer, start writing stuff down, making better decisions. So when you get 41 and you find that good woman who you can now show her that you are a leader, you ain't got to say, lead me. She say, oh, he's a leader. She gonna bring all her Halloween candy, dump it out on your table. You decipher that shit, let her know you don't need this type of shit over here. That shit ain't coming over here. Keep that shit out the house. And if she's willing to do that, cool. If not, don't even waste 6 months with her. Hey, keep that shit moving.
Hey,
Coach, you're on a different level. So
yeah, tell them to cry in the rain or the other shower, because nobody want to see that bullshit.
No, nobody want to see it.
It's not funny. It's funny. My wife is. We've been married for so long. It's really weird. Sometimes she doesn't. And sometimes she's hesitant because she doesn't know whether I'm a acquiesce or something like that. It was something she wanted to do, right? So she kept asking me, how do you want me to do this, right? So I told her a couple of times, right? I said, well, do this way. And she kept coming back. So, well, what? I said, listen, by now, no matter what I tell you, you're going to do it the way you want to do it anyway. So just go ahead and do it. I mean, we started laughing. But I said, you know what? You have to ask me. You got an idea in your head. Just go ahead and take care of it. It was kind of funny because we started laughing because she was deferring to me. And she didn't have to because she's asking me. So I'm like natural. I'm trying to come up with a solution. But she already has one in her mind. But she won't, she didn't sell it. I said, yes. It just hit me because I know her so well I said, well, listen, no matter what I tell you, you're gonna go down and do what you want to do anyway. I think just go ahead and do it. Don't have to ask me. That was so funny. We got those kind of moments a lot.
Yeah.
Even like today, I'll just give you maybe it's not on this thing.
But a wife,
she's still working. Let me just say this. She's still working, right? So I ordered some stuff for dinner, right? Because she's still working. So she calls me up. She said, well, guess what? I'm getting home, but I bought some stuff for dinner. Right? She did it on her own because she's out there. And I said what it was. And she bought the same goddamn thing. She bought the same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's where we are. That's where we are.
But y'all husband and wife are paying, and that's the thing. Y'all both do things that are beneficial to the family. Ain't nobody over talking about I'm going to go spend $1,000 on this stanky ass wig and these tight ass boots to make my feet stink. That's the thing, and that's what a wife is. She will show up and I'll give everything to the family. Not I gotta go to Beyonce and spend the rent money. No, that's not a wife. That's not a woman that you give attention to, brothers. And ladies, even for a man, if he's out there, he's doing too much during the week, that nigga can't be working a full-time job. If every time you call him, he's out hanging out after 10, 11 o'clock, he ain't working no 9 to 5. But he gonna come over with that meat, though. He gonna drop that meat off whenever you call. And don't be mad when he move like the meat man. He gonna keep it moving. You cannot be mad. You saw that shit.
I gotta tell you, that's true for her. I mean, let me say, I do take a little bit of happiness every time she got to get out of bed. I say, go out there, baby, make that money. Go make that. She's so get your ass up and go make that money, baby. Bring it home. Well, I'm turning over.
I'm with you, Payne. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Only in my own defense, I told her, you can quit that job anytime you want to. Like you take care, but she insists. Yeah, get out there, make that money, baby.
Got the whole bed after 8 o'clock. Yes.
What'd you think about it, Ms. Precious?
I agree with everything that he said. I think that if you're going to get married, then you should have been looking for a helpmate before you say I do. Mm-hmm. And if you signed up for a helpmate, then you signed up for someone to help you in areas that you're not as wise in, and areas that you're not necessarily thinking about. Women think about things that men just don't think about, and vice versa. Men think about things that women just don't think about. And when you're, in that dynamic of marriage, when women are thinking about the things that you're not thinking about, is not to say that you should do what she tells you to do, but you should consider it at least, because it's for, like Coach Ferg was saying, it's for the family. If she's not saying she want to go out here and get, this $1,000 bag and these shoes and these wigs and these lashes and these nails, and she's giving you an idea on how to make the family better, or how to make, your what you have built better, then the least you can do is consider it. Tell her that, and if you don't agree, just say, I don't agree. I think, I'm not necessarily feeling that, but we can do this. How do you feel about that? It should be a conversation that you guys have, a harmonious one. It shouldn't be, back and forth and things of that nature. But if you signed up for a wife, you signed up for a helpmate. And that's what women are going to do. They're going to say, oh, well, maybe you can do this a little bit better, because we're nurturers, right? And so we want what's in the home to be nurtured. And men aren't necessarily always thinking about nurture. Y'all are thinking about, getting it done, having it in the home, or having it ready, or having it available, and things of that nature. But there's so many other things that go into having it available, having it ready, having it in the home. And those are just not things that men think about. Just like, most times when you get married, most times men foot the bill when it comes to the home. And I mean, like mortgage and things of that nature, right? But the woman is the one who decorates. The woman is the one who makes sure the hardwood floors are clean and shining. She makes sure that things are dusted. Like, those are the nurturing aspects of that helpmate. And if a man doesn't take heed to those things, then maybe he didn't know what he was signing up for, because that's what women are going to do. And for a man, men don't necessarily always want the input. Something I learned a while ago, like a man is not gonna always want your input. He just wants to vent to you. And so you that's part of being a helpmate too. You just listen. But that also comes with communication, because a woman is going to automatically give you, well, you should do this, you should do that. Like, it's just going to instinctively come to her. And if that's not what you want, then you communicate that in love. Babe, I just really need to vent to you right now. So, let me just talk. Maybe, just rub my head while I'm talking or whatever, and then we can eat afterwards. But it's not necessarily to say, that he doesn't care about what she has to say, but his needs at the time is just for you to be a listening ear. And that's all the help he needs at that time. But yeah, I agree with what he said. If you're signing up to be a wife, you're signing up to be a helpmate. And if a man doesn't understand that assignment, then he don't understand what he signed up for, because women are going to naturally want to help. That's how God made it. We're a good woman anyway. She's going to naturally want to help you in any way that she can. And there are some men who are open to it. There are some men who are not. There are some men who just don't take any ideas. They don't look to her for that helping hand. And honestly, you're doing yourself a disjustice. Like, if you have a wife and she is being a helpmate and she's trying to help you and you don't take heed to her help, you're doing yourself a disjustice.
That's true.
It's almost like not having to, you shouldn't even have a wife. Like, what do you have her around for? You should just get a whole bunch of business partners or something and own what you own and do what you do. But women are there to help, and not taking the help would be foolish. It would definitely be foolish. All right. So that concludes our show. I appreciate everyone who has come out. This was a good one. Got heated in some moments. We disagreed in some moments, like we said at the top of the hour when we started. We don't always agree, but we're here to hear the perspectives. We're here to gain understanding. And as long as one person took something away from what we did, then I feel like my job is done. I agree, Brock. Two are always better than one. Two are always better than one. The topic tonight: hurt men hurt the dating pool. And we kind of tackled it from the single angle, and then we ended up in the marriage angle. But to give closing words, and then you guys can give your closing words. But I think hurt men are men who just aren't able to vocalize what's going on with them. I think a lot of times, and this goes for women too, but we're talking about the men, a lot of times your hurt is stuck in your throat. It's stuck in your stomach. It's stuck in your head, and you have to get it out. You have to get it out. And most times you have to get it out with someone that you direly need to communicate that with, and you're holding yourself back from doing that. And it keeps you hurt. It keeps you stuck. And that's what hurts the dating pool, because you'll say you want one thing, but your actions will show another thing. And so, unlike that first video that we played, you're going on this solo journey, yet you want to keep dibbling and dabbling in the same pool with a woman who has emotions for you and things of that nature. You got to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta choose a side. And you have to be okay with that. And I don't think a lot of men are okay with taking that solo journey and truly understanding themselves. But then when you do get into that relationship, being confident in who you are and learning from that solo journey that you took. I mean, again, it's the same for women, but we're talking about the men tonight. So, I think that it's okay to be hurt. We all get hurt, but it's not okay to stay hurt. Staying hurt means you're, and I use this phrase a lot, bleeding on those people who didn't cut you. You're bleeding on people who didn't cut you when you don't fix your hurt. And that's nobody else's responsibility but yours. And so I hope the videos tonight kind of, made people think in a little bit of a different way than they were before the live. But what women may not know about men is that they do harbor hurt. And sometimes women have to cut their losses and walk away from that, because you can't make anyone do something that they're not ready for or that they don't want to do. And so while we talk about the men and their trauma and their pain and their hurt and things of that nature, women need to recognize these things, because you're not a helpmate until you're his wife. Like, I'm not going to be a helpmate to a man that I'm not married to, that God didn't ordain to be my husband. Because then what will I have for my husband? Like, I mean, I would still be a helpmate, but at the end of the day, all this help ain't supposed to be going to somebody that ain't my husband. So women also need to cut that cord a lot sooner than they do too, because just because he's not saying what's going on with him or what's hurting him, you are hindering his process as well. And you need to walk away. A lot of men aren't going to walk away. They're not going to walk away from the sex. They're not going to walk away from that soft body to hold. They're not going to do that. They're going to be in pain. They're going to keep working, get into the bag, but they're not going to walk away. And so women need to do that. And you realize this man is not your husband. You realize he's not somebody that wants to be in your life and be committed. You have to walk away and realize you're really not losing anything, because if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to be your husband, he would. If he wanted to work on his hurt and his issues, he would. And so you're not really losing someone, but someone who don't want to do the work, when you could be with someone who's willing to do the work with you. So don't allow, other people. And I think a lot of times women fear not wanting to hurt a man or let a man down. And it could be the same vice versa. Men, don't want to hurt a woman's feelings. But at the end of the day, you only hurting your feelings because you're not doing the work. So I wanted to say that for closing words. I think this has been a great show. I appreciate you guys again altering your schedules for me. Next week I will be doing the show. Just keep an eye out on the chat. I think I can do it on Wednesday. I believe I could do it on Wednesday. It will be at 9:30. I won't be home. I'll be traveling for work, but I'm gonna still try and make the show happen next week, Wednesday, 9:30. So we're gonna do closing remarks. Thank you. Somebody did send a cash app. Stacy, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for contributing to the platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna do closing words. We're gonna start with Coach Ferg. Go to Sean's not here. Our pain, then end with. Oh wait, Sean, come on now.
Sean said he was leaving 30 minutes ago. Sean,
I don't want to let it go. He's probably.
It's just you guys. It's hard for me to detach.
So yeah, we'll do closing words, Coach Sean. If you want to go ahead, if you're not, I'm tied up. Our pain, and we're frank. Closing words, y'all. Coach Ferg, it's on you, sir.
I mean, it's a very interesting conversation, So listen, if a man has, well, I'll say this: life is almost like the Frankie Beverly and May song, joy and pain. Mm-hmm. You gonna have some joys, you gonna have some pains. It's peaks and valleys. It's ebbs and flows. It's all of those things. So you have to be willing to cherish the sunshiny, those days that are bright and sunny. Cherish those days. And those days that are gloomy and painful, a lot of the trauma pretty much is going to come from either self or others that you know. Don't be afraid to address those others that you feel has induced some form of pain on you. Don't be afraid to address it. Don't harbor it. Don't carry it, because it leads to more than just, long term. It could be health issues that arise from it. Short term, you could get to a headspace where you're ready to just snap on the next person that comes around. Both of those things are not healthy. Address it as soon as possible. And if you have to talk about it Choose someone that you can trust. Maybe somebody you don't really know. May not necessarily have to be a therapist, but somebody that you believe can give you righteous information and be willing to hear the truth, no matter how good or bad it may make you feel. Step your feelings out of it. Don't think about your feelings. Cry in your pillow when you get home. Doesn't mean you have to sort of be mad at it, and just listen to the message, decipher it on your way home, try to find new solutions. And once if you recognize it as a trigger, try to avoid it. Sometime again, that separation I talk about, you just may have to not accept everybody's phone call all the time, not pull up on everybody's pull up. Give yourself a time to reflect, because as you get older, you want that wisdom light bulb to come on sooner than later. Don't waste time today. This is a very unique time for men to take advantage of it over these next 4 years. I'm telling you, the world will be here in 2028. The world is coming. And black men, we got a great opportunity to show the world that we always been the shit. We're going to continue to be the shit. And the women, they're going to have to get in line by hook or crook. Because when these world of women come here with this money, brothers going to be looking good. They're going to be worked hard. And they're going to be ready. So, I don't know, what I'm saying? So just love yourself, first of all. Love yourself. Love your kids. Teach them how to be respectful. Teach them about how to properly choose, and just move accordingly, man. But this is a great time for brothers, man. Sisters, y'all better get in line because y'all going to get left behind. Y'all don't see it, but it's coming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, all right. 2025, the year of wisdom. Uh, hurt people hurt people. And hurt is just merely a reflection of pain. Not our pain, just pain. And that pain can be triggered from a lot of different places. It can be through trauma, it can be through experiences, it can be through fear, it can be through a lot of different things. But it's up to us to try and identify uh, where that pain is so that we don't grow a hardened heart as we spoke about today. Because that hardened heart goes back to the initial statement, which is a reflection of a hurt person. And hurt people hurt people. And when we're hurting each other, it's hard to trust each other. And the only way that we can build, grow, and prosper is by being able to trust each other, be able to have that trust enough to be interdependent and be able to understand that interdependence, as we said throughout the night, two are better than one, and that interdependence will help us soar, will help us grow, will help us structure, will help us be more comfortable with doing things with intention with others. Because we do a lot of things with intention. Sometimes those intentions are selfish. And when we learn how to be able to dismiss that selfishness and be more interdependent and do it with one another, we'll be a lot better off.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you for being here tonight. Our pain, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think people make life more complicated than it needs to be. I just really do, but I don't need to go down to the deep one now. I mean, there's different traumas that people are going through, if you want to use that word. And then there's some things that people call trauma that are really not. It's just like readjustment that you need to do in your own personal life. I think we just make relationships more complicated. You a man, this is a woman. There's some natural shit that occurs between the two of us that I think we try to put definitions to them, which complicates matters, right? If a person wants to be, I think a person who's driven to do something like marriage or like courtship, if it's a man or a woman, the outside world really doesn't matter as much as everybody gives it credit for. Because if I'm talking to you and you're talking to me and we want to be together, we could take steps to make that shit happen. It doesn't matter what's going on, right? It really doesn't. But I think we add so many different things because it's 2025 and not 1987. I don't see the distinction there. I just don't. And maybe it's not for me to do that, but we need the young people to say, if I want to be married in my 20s, or I want to be married in my close to my early 30s, if I find somebody, can I recognize that person?
Mhm.
You know, whether I have traumas or not, can I recognize that person? Because I can deal with the traumas if it's not too bad. She could deal with hers. And does she want to be with me? And can we work something out as we start to communicate? And that's really what it's like. Because no matter how you slice it, at some point, it's going to be a communication and a negotiation on how we're going to make this thing work. And that those two people deciding on that has nothing to do with the time period. It just really doesn't. It's called, you know, being intentional and want to making a commitment. Because let me tell you, believe it or not, as bad as shit is, people are still getting married.
Yep.
You know, and how maybe that's the thing. How are they doing that? How is marriage happening in the modern era when all shit is breaking loose? How is that happening? You know, it'd be nice to get some of those people somewhere on the panel saying this is what we did and how. And I bet you part of it, and I'm gonna end it here, is they had to black out a lot of bullshit that's out.
I 1000% agree with you. You have, you have to. You have
That's what I'm saying.
because social media is open 24/7.
Mhm.
There is no close, be back at 9 in the morning. No, it is on 24/7. And in
Mhm.
order to really build something that you want to build, you have to block out those people who are against what you want to build. And that's just point blank period. You have to block out those people who are not down to do what you down to do. And that's how people make it happen. They don't listen to the naysayers. They don't listen to the fear mongers. You know, that's like, oh no, but if you do this, this is gonna happen. Like, no, they're committed to the mission.
Mhm.
Point blank, period. If that's what they want to do, that's what they're going to do. They're not going to listen to everyone that's going to tell them a million and one ways why it won't work because
Mhm.
they're making it work.
There you go.
Thank you, Arpain. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me up.
Anytime, of course. Frank,
Mhm.
final words, sir.
All right. Uh Pretty much, I mean, everybody pretty much already said everything, man. I would just like to say, um, young fellas, man, if you listen to this, man, just and you've been hurt, I would just say, work on it, bro. Work on it. Because the longer that you deny it, the longer that you just try to mask it, just like Miss Precious said, you just gonna bleed all over everybody that you come in contact with until you're ready to address that issue, man. And that's just real life. Um Also too, and if if you're still blessed to have your parents here, and I'm saying, you have the opportunity, and you have had traumatic experiences, you're grown now. It does not mean you gotta disrespect them. It does not mean you gotta go at them crazy sideways, nothing like that. Do not be afraid to sit down, have honest conversations with your parents, because that's the only way that you're gonna get through that also. You have to. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it don't gotta be no type of disrespect. It don't gotta be all crazy. You know what I'm saying? They not one of your little friends, as they gonna tell you anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Like they used to tell you when you was a kid. But you know what I'm saying? Just don't be afraid to, come back to the table and have those type of conversations with your family, man. With the, especially if you have experienced like those traumatic experiences growing up, man. Definitely, counseling, all those things, they definitely help. Anything that can help you get through the things that you need to get through, man, use them, please. Especially if, not just for yourself, but for yourself, and also for the outcome that you're trying to achieve. And outside of that, I would just say, man, Our pain don't be yelling at me and trying to argue with me for 30 minutes to come back and tell me the same thing that I was trying to tell you. Nah, but hey man, always as always, man, great show. You know, Miss Precious really be putting it together over here. Great guys, man. You know, I got much love and respect for all of the fellas on the panel. Miss Precious is always gracious bringing us together. This show is much needed. So make sure if you in the chat, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video because it's the only way it's gonna grow. And yeah, man, let's get more people over here to see these conversations, more people in the chat to interact with these conversations, and let's go up from here, man. Let's go up from here.
Yes. Thank you guys.
Can I say one thing to Frank's point? Frank, you said to have those conversations, and all I would say to people is be prepared that you might get challenged. Don't get discouraged by that challenge because more than likely it is, especially if it's with your parent. They're going to pull that parent card when you're having a adult to adult conversation. So be prepared for that so it doesn't detour the conversation to where it can become a blessing because you guys got frustrated or triggered and blocked it off. So just be prepared for it so that you can successfully do what Frank suggested because it is helpful and necessary.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason,
we hear you. We hear you.
Okay. Something popped up on my computer. I don't know why it's not going away. It froze on my.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're frozen now.
Yeah.
But we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you though. You're frozen, but we can hear you.
All right. I'm trying to
don't worry. You got a pretty face on, so we're not laughing at it. A pretty frozen face.
It won't let me like click anything. But guys, thank you so much for being here. And like I said, next week we will be back 9:30. I'm gonna try and do the show on Wednesday at 9:30. But just I'll always let you guys know what's going on with my schedule. But I definitely want to have the show next week. But until then, keep it real with yourself so you can keep it real with others. You guys have a good evening.
Right, take it easy. Yeah, he's still alive. I'll see you guys later, man.